Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is Tuesday night, so you already know it is time to go down the rabbit hole. I'd like to welcome all my Throners, YouTubers, and lovers of the game. We are definitely going to be getting it in today. It is bittersweet, just like they said. The finale, Snafu Z. What's up?
What's up? Thanks for having me on for our last review of Game of Thrones, the show, I guess. Our last episode review, discussion. I'm going to be pretty broke, it turns out, for my competition idea, because we have so many freaking winners. But it was fun. I should have made the game a little bit harder. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, we tried to throw that little twist on there and make them pick two at the end, but boy, that didn't work out at all. D&D, like I said, back in episode 3, I was afraid they were going to Hollywood it out, and they absolutely Hollywooded it out. Unfreaking believable. What's up? We got my man Fandom D State in the house. What's good today, brother?
Yo, for starters, thank you for having me, DJ. Gonna talk with you and Andy and DJ, trying to be on the fence just one last time for the last episode of Game of Thrones.
And you know we couldn't do it without one of my biggest and best brothers in the business. We got my man, the one and only Dragon, in the house. How goes it with you today, brother?
Oh, it's going good, man. Yeah. Final episode. I wanted more, but it is what it is, and let's break it down and see where everybody's at with how they enjoyed it and everything, or what they hated about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to talk about the episode, the season, and the series as a whole, what we thought, what it was. You already know my feelings on the beginning of it. Hey, without D&D, none of us are together. I don't meet all these fine folks, and I'm not where I'm at today with it. So I appreciate it, what it was. You know me, I always try to kind of see the bright side of things, and yeah, we're going to get into it. But we got the chat with us, and we want to thank everybody that's out there in it. What's up, OTDA? And we got Phoenix Rising 357, Jake Cruz. What's up, Jesus Hernandez? Sam Florida, Mother of Krakens, I see you out there. Celador, Living My Rhapsody, welcome, one and all. Tony Scar, hey, what's up, buddy? Been talking to you recently, and yeah, Varys is also one of my favorite characters, and it was despicable what they did to him. We are going to talk all about it. Just overall props, just real quick, how did that, once you saw that end scene, what was the feeling in your mouth, Andy? How'd you feel about it?
The very end, with John walking off.
Once the credits rolled and you knew it was over, what was the pit of your stomach saying to you?
Well, I was pretty happy in that, whether the show wasn't as good at the end or it was, I'm first and foremost prideful in that I was happy that I was right about so much stuff. By the end of it, I'm like, whatever, you can't spoil my mood because I'm right. So I'm going to get to go to Tuesday and I'm going to be like, yep, I was right about this. I was right about this. I was right about why they would keep the Night's Watch. That is a deep pull. That was a few weeks ago. I pulled that out. But yeah, I was really happy. And I know some people are going to be really hard on the episode, but I was okay with how it ended. So
definitely. What's up, Dragon? You know we're going to be going deep into it, but just your overall feeling as soon as they rolled credits, what was that feeling in your stomach?
First off, Andy, there is no more Night's Watch. He left with the wildlings and went north. Anyway, to tell you the truth, I felt kind of empty when it ended, and it wasn't empty the show's over. I was just I want more. I need something else. This just didn't, the coronation of Sansa was cool. Why in the fuck didn't we get a coronation of Bran? Why not? What was the point in not giving us that? There was just small little details where I was just that's what they gave us. Okay. And if you watched my review, I laughed my ass off, and that's the reason why, because I felt unsatisfied and empty when it got over.
Unsatisfied and empty. You know what's not unsatisfying and empty? We just had a motherfucking legend hit the chat. My girl, the one and only Chemo 30. What's up, girl? I'm so glad to see you out there. How you doing? How you doing? Jenny of Cold Stones, I see you out there. Game of Theories with Marie. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Peter Griffin got to the house. Good to see you, buddy. Oh, yeah. What about it, fandom? Just real quick, just the pit of your stomach, the taste in your mouth. What'd you feel when they rolled those end credits?
That was pretty much a mixture of both Andy and JD. Like, I was satisfied, but at the same time, I wanted more. Some more conversation, less walking. I still have some damn questions, so I'm guessing we're going to be fan explaining, throughout until who knows when we're tired about talking about Game of Thrones, which I don't even think will happen since the books are going to be coming out soon. Because the moment those books coming out, we're going to be like referencing stuff that probably happened on the damn show. But even then, oh my gosh, just forgot my one point. But I'm still pissed off that we didn't get to hear the fucking joke. Like, Tyrion was literally about to say it, and it cut. I'm like, what? If they would have gave me that joke, I would have been biased and gave it a 10 out of 10 because they gave us the freaking joke. But they didn't. They didn't.
Absolutely left you hanging 100%. The nerve of them to even bring it back up and not finish it. The nerve. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I got to apologize to in advance if we have certain fans out there of certain people, but Tourette's may be kicking in and you may get just a couple fuck Sanzas just out of nowhere. I'm sorry, but woo, that girl.
Lay off my girl, Sansa. Oh. Everything happened how it was supposed to happen. If she wanted, how about, I don't know how organized you want to do this, but I got one question. Like, I get why you wouldn't like Sansa because she never cared about the rules before. How come when the Unsullied left, she wasn't just like, all right, John, come back? Like that, we were just joking. Everybody was liars except John. Now they're gonna be fucking have honor.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna talk all about that. It's so despicable, and there is reasons. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, and there are absolute reasons why it went down like that. And again, fuck Sansa. That's all I can. That's
I feel like Brand's even worse, but whatever.
But JD, we start off this week with Tyrion and Davos walking through the streets of ashes and just filled with corpses of burnt women and children, and everything Tyrion was fighting to prevent hit full blast. And it was like, I know when I was watching past episodes, I was like, Tyrion, I get it. I mean, it's stupid to say war won't be that bad, but it's like, aren't you going overboard? This has to happen. Just kind of deal with it. But after seeing everything, I was like, damn it, Danny, why didn't you listen to Little T? Like, what were you feeling about that opening episode?
Like I said in my review of episode 5, if you're going to show an anti-war video or make an anti-war story, you show the fucking carnage of the innocents. And dude, that is one thing I will give D&D huge props on when it came to these last 2 episodes. They showed it and they did not shy away from it. And it pissed a lot of people off. They're like, well, why'd they have to show it? Because that's the story George is writing. He's writing an anti-war story. That's how you write anti-war. You show the blood, the guts, the gruesomes, the burning, the innocent dying. Poetically, it was beautiful. It was freaking beautiful. It was shot gloriously, and that was the one time in this whole season I literally had the chills. Was when Tyrion was walking down the street. I liked it. I really did.
Nice. Absolutely. Andy, I got to be honest. When Tyrion was walking and it was kind of sad and solemn, and there he walked up to saw that little burnt up girl with the wooden horse, the first thing I thought of was like, damn, those toys were made out of some really good wood. Like Shireen's little horse was still in shape, and that little girl, like everything else was burnt to a crisp, but this little horse is still like, hold on. They don't make toys like that anymore.
Yeah, they don't make toys like they used to. I thought the same thing when they burned Shireen, honestly, but hey, what are you gonna do? Some people, they had clothes on too, so.
Well, speaking of clothes, like what about that one dude that came spring breaking by with like nothing but a freaking Speedo on? He was like, his shit was he was way out. He was out in the sun too long.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I don't know. How were you feeling? Did it have you like solemn right off the gate, fandom? Were you feeling some kind of way or?
It's like, damn, like we weren't dreaming about what happened in episode 5. Shit really just went Dracarys on all of King's Land. You even see some soldiers in the corner like, God damn, this actually happened. She actually burned the damn place. Even like Tyrion is like, damn, this really happened and all that. Some people are saying, oh, is that snow? No, it's freaking Ash. And it was still going like pretty much like what, the first 15 or so minutes of the episode. It was ridiculous.
Oh, it was totally sad. JD, how sad was it when Davos was up there and like he had that shaken voice when John went up and grabbed Grey Worm's arm when he was trying to stop him from killing those Lannister soldiers? And I was just like, Davos. I mean, if Davos isn't right there being the voice of reason, John Boy's dead right there, isn't he?
I don't know if he's dead, but we would have got a hell of a fight. And that's what it was leading into. And I was wanting that fight. I wanted that fight. I was sitting there going, come on, let's get it. Let's get it. Because, I mean, John just grabs him and he's like, no, we're not doing this shit. And I was like, oh, come on, let's do it. Do it. Do it. But, you know, if they're under the queen's orders, they're going to follow orders. I mean, that's just how it works. If you're following somebody and you believe in that person, heart of a freaking T, you're going to do what they say. And that's who Grey Worm is. That's who he has been since Dany freed him. And so he was doing what his queen bid. And yeah, Davos was worried about that fight. He didn't want to see it go down because, yeah, there's a chance that Jon loses. I mean, Grey Worm's fast and he's a badass. So Jon's a really good fighter, but yeah, there's a chance. So I actually laughed a lot during that scene. I was wanting a fight, and then I was disappointed when it didn't happen.
I was too. Ever since my last one, I was like, I want to know who wins a duel out of Jon Boy and freaking Grey Worm, because I think Grey Worm smokes him. But what were you feeling about that, Andy? Because my biggest thing about it, well, I've got to talk about more about the whole Grey Worm thing, but my biggest thing about it was, didn't this kind of show how weak Jon was? Because in this same situation back in season 1, when Dany walked up on that situation, Dany saved the people, and Dany told all them Dothraki to fuck off. She saved them all, took them to her call, and said, yes, I've taken many prizes today. And Dany saved those people. Jon walked off and let them get their throats slit. So what's up with that?
To be fair, she had the power in that situation. He does not. Like, she had the power of Khal Drogo, right? That's what you're talking about, season 1?
Yeah, but not right then and there. Drogo wasn't there. She basically had to grab them people from these crazy wild Dothraki who were all bloodlusted out from war and stop them, and then had to walk them to her husband to say, like, yes, I've taken many prizes. Now, yeah, I mean, maybe they were scared they would have got snipped for messing with the Khal's wife, but I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's protected. They can't touch her. Even another call from another fucking, what's it called, Khalasar, won't touch Khal's wife. So to be fair, now imagine if that is your Khal or whatever. So in that, but during that scene, you know, I was kind of hoping for a fight. Jon would have definitely died because there was a bunch of people with spears there. They would have just stabbed him immediately. Even if he killed Grey Worm, he stabs Grey Worm right there. He's dead because he's about to get 5 spears in him. But I thought that scene was funny because it looked like Grey Worm was making an ISIS video. Like, that's what.
What?
Well, go when you watch it again. Now, considering Dany's speech and what we said before the stream, I think that might have been on purpose, because the Dany scene later was definitely on purpose. So I think that was meant to look like an ISIS video, honestly.
Wow.
Throwing that out there.
That's crazy. Oh, man, it was, not to make light of war by any means whatsoever, but just trying to make light of a series that basically let so many people down in the end in such a fantastical way. It's like, if you can't make jokes about it, you will end up crying about it, because it was like, it was what it was. It wasn't, I don't hate it like everybody else does and bashed on it, but yeah, it's, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But what's up, fandom? I mean, do you agree with all this hate on Grey Worm? It seems like the entire community was just hating on Grey Worm, and I get it, but he's a soldier. He's been brought up with this. He has been brought up and bred to think this way, and basically not to ever think, just do as what's ordered from the time he could walk. Like, he died earlier if he didn't do anything but that. So is it fair to hate him so much when his queen, that he followed across the sea and gave him an order, and he's doing exactly what his queen ordered? Is it fair to hate and put so much down on Grey Worm?
Do you see a Grey Worm Funko Pop behind me, DJ? I think not. I think not. Especially the previous episode, and especially the beginning. Like, granted, I'm happy he went to like North in the end though, but before then, it's just like, dude, enough was enough. Dabo was right. The war was over. You could have just stopped. You won, and he was still damn going. I'm like, I can't with you, Gabriel. I can't with you.
I gotta jump in on this a little bit, because your argument, DJ, your justification can't be justified because it goes against what Grey Worm is saying himself. That these people are free men and they chose to follow Cersei, and that's why we're killing them. So yeah, if he is saying, okay, these people are following their ruler, so that justifies me killing them, even if the ruler's not there anymore, then he deserves hate or punishment as well, because he is a free man and he is following a ruler. So he clearly understands this concept. So he has to like follow his own code, basically.
I mean, I guess, but he's sworn allegiance to a queen, and the queen, his queen said, kill all who follow Cersei Lannister. Straight stone cold orders. So in his mind, he's committing treason if he doesn't kill him.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say the same thing.
But right, he's a free man at this point, so he is subject to his own code. So he is deserving of the hate as much as the Lannister army is.
I don't disagree with you there, but also at the same point, if you, like I said earlier, if you're devoted to a person and you believe in everything that they're saying and doing, you're going to follow what they say, and that's what Grey Worm did. And he's done that, like I said, since the beginning of this. Anything she's ever told him, he's done. He's never once rejected an order from Dany. He's always done everything she's asked.
But he could, and that's why he is justified to hate him for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he has a mind, but he's been taught not to use it his whole life. So it's like, I think it's weird to think that all of a sudden he would just turn that off. I mean, that's kind of the way, it's just kind of the way it was. What's up? Welcome, Tony Scar, to the family. We like to keep it crazy down here, down the rabbit hole. I see we got the one and only Moni G out there. What's up, girl? Good to see you. Nancy T made it in for a minute before bed. Nice to see you out there, Nancy T. Thank you for being here. Shannon Thompson, the one and only. Thank you, one and all. CJM. Haven't seen you before, but welcome down the rabbit hole. I see Timo out there getting it as usual. I'm sorry you got shit at work, but hey, it's the Game of Thrones fandom, and it is absolutely going to happen like that. But yeah, I definitely still want to know who wins that duel between Grey Worm and Aegon, and I am a little irritated that we didn't get to see it. But what's up, our number one Lannister lover? When Tyrion was walking, you just knew where he was going, and you knew what he was looking for. How are you feeling when you knew what he was about to find, fandom?
At first, I thought he was going to head to Dany, and then as he was walking, I'm like, wait a second, is he going to go, and find the damn bodies of freaking Jaime and Cersei? I thought the moment he saw the hand, I was like, damn, I guess that pretty much confirms that both of them are dead, not going to rise from the damn rubble, still alive. Okay, all right, I get it. And then you see him pretty much like pick up each and every brick. I'm like, what? We're actually going to see, their crumbled bodies or so disfigured, but nope, they're still intact. It's like, okay, I guess. Like, is it in reality? Shouldn't there like be disfigured or so from all that rumble? Like, I don't know, but that's just messed up. But hey, they pretty much both got like $1 million just to lay there. So it's a good thing.
That might have been prosthetics laying there. Who knows? That was just crazy. But what were you thinking about that, Andy? When he went, like Jon was like, let me send some men with you, and Tyrion was like, no, I'll go alone. You instantly knew he was going to look for his siblings. But even still, what's Jon going to do? Send a couple men when Dany's got all the Dothraki and Unsullied? What are a couple men going to protect him from?
I don't know. They're Jon's men, so maybe he thinks that like that'll help the situation, I guess. I don't know. Maybe Jon's men can like take him captive if they're just going to kill him on the spot or whatever. Maybe they can do something. But how about like the fact that the roof's caving in and literally they only had to like move a few feet and they would have been completely safe. And they didn't do that. Like Tyrion climbed up the hill a little bit, but it was like only one Tyrion length. So like 3 foot, 4 foot. They just had to step aside 4 feet. What? they deserve to die for that, you dum-dums. Like, they're both the dumbest Lannisters. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that was more for cinematographic effect, but I get you exactly. There's lots of places where there weren't any bricks on the ground. Why not just stand there? But I get it. But when Tyrion was on the way there, JD, I was trying to look and read those books that were on the ground. I was like, ooh, are those Iron Bank ledgers? It's like, they say the Iron Bank always gets their due, but what happens now when the three-eyed Bran tells him to jump off the wall?
They do now when three-eyed Bran tells him. I don't think he will, dude. Knowing Bran, and I said this when I was talking about it in my own review. The one thing Bran is able to do is he's able to tap in and see, the past rulers and all the fucking mistakes they made and try not to make those same mistakes. So, and Bran's pretty level-headed, even though he's Bran 9000. I think when it comes to the Iron Bank, as long as Bronn's not screwing up, because let's put it this way, Bronn better watch his ass because Bran will know if he fucks up. So I think everything will be straight and narrow when it comes to that situation.
You agree with that, fandom? The Iron Bank's just going to iron out. There's not going to be a big problem with that because they, like I say, they always get their due. I can't see them just giving up. Is Bran just going to pay him and try to keep it smooth, or is he going to be like, that's not my debt?
Bran could easily blackmail them if anything, and then boom, debt's gone. That's all.
He said, let me just blackmail him real quick, and we'll call it fair. When Aegon was walking through all those Dothraki horses, I was just waiting for one of them to kick him, Andy. What did you think about that? Like, I was like, one of them been like, you should have pet Ghost, you dick. Pop! And just gave him a real quick kick.
I was legit thinking the same thing, like acting-wise. There's no way you would get me to like act and walk in between two horses and push their butts away from each other. There's no fucking way. Like, I've been around horses a lot, and there's no way that I'm getting in between two horses that I don't know personally and are going to push their butts to the side. I'm not getting kicked by no horse. Screw that. But here's the thing about previously. Does the Iron Bank, does Bran even owe anything? That's Cersei's debt. Like, I'm not paying her debt. You paid for the other side, and come at me, bro. The whole army that you used to collect debts is dead. Like, what are you gonna do?
Exactly. They have no more golden company. I mean, I guess they can form some other ones with some soul sword companies over there, but yeah, their golden company was mainly for that, and they gone, all of them. So now what? That was kind of my whole point with that. It's like, why would Bran pay them? But because they always say that they just put, if you don't pay them, they'll put their own king on the throne, and that king will pay them. But like you just said, they have nothing left. The muscle's gone. So why pay them?
But it's not his debt anyway. That was my point. It's not his debt. Otherwise, like, why not just pay both sides to fight each other, and then you make double the money by whoever gets the crown? Like, oh, well, the crown borrowed this money from this side and this much money from this side, and now you owe me all of that put together. Right. So they can't do that. They backed the side. They picked a side. That side lost, and now that's just a loss.
Well, they kind of backed all sides. I mean, they gave Stannis money, they gave Robert money, and then, I mean, why should Cersei have to pay? It's the same family, but it's gone through 7 different seats. Why should she pay any money on it?
Yeah, but that was like that was the crown borrowing that money at that point. But if there's like a war going between the two, like the Stannis thing, now the crown shouldn't have to pay Stannis's debt, right? If Stannis dies, I mean, his family, whoever they got to go after to get that, like whether it's Gendry or whatever. But that's not the crown's debt. The crown's debt, if there's a war for succession, then whatever side they back, if they lose that. That's the gamble, right? If they pick the wrong side, they lose. But
absolutely. We got a question out there from Tony Scar. Would you guys rather see Robert's Rebellion, The Long Night, or Fall of Valyria? What do you think about that, fandom? Which one would you rather see?
I'd rather see Robert's Rebellion, honestly, because I want to see that Ruby River. I can't even talk. The Ruby River. I want to see that moment where, Robert just freaking kills Rhaegar.
Ruby read forward, absolutely. Well, we got fandom. What did you think about when Tyrion unburied his siblings? It's like he really did actually love his family, no matter. I mean, it seemed like Cersei had absolute nothing but hate and despite for him his whole life, and yet still, when he saw her, he was just devastated. How could he still love? Or was it all just for Jaime? Was all that emotion all just for Jaime?
No, it was for both of them. Just like what Timo says, it's like stop with this Lannister hate. It's that unconditional love that they have for each other. Just like Cersei, she could have freaking killed Tyrion in season 7, but she didn't, because she deep down she still loved him, regardless of her blaming Tyrion for the mother's death. It's still that family unconditional love that they have for each other. He wished that that Danny would spare Cersei and even try to make sure that Jaime would just take her out and go.
How about you, JD? What would you rather see for the sequel? The Rebellion, the Fall of Valyria, or the Long Night?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to end up being the Long Night, but I think I'd really like to see Robert's Rebellion because you only get, on both of them, we only get snips and pieces. But, the Long Night would be cool with the Age of Heroes. I would be good with that, but either of those would be cool.
Timo says we got to see the Long Night now. I think the White Walkers were the good guys and Thryr was the evil. The Three-Eyed Raven was the evil one. I'm with you, Timo. I made a whole video about it.
Oh, wait, hold on. About Jaime and Cersei. I told you they'd all die.
Damn you. I hate that laughter when it follows the deaths of Cersei and Jaime.
Oh, it's just not good. It's not good. It was good to see Arya live, Andy, but she did not look happy. Did you think basically right then and there it was going to be her that was going to kill Dany, or were you still on that it was going to be Jon the whole time?
No, I was pretty sure it was Jon. It was going to be Jon the whole time. And like I said last week, I thought that him seeing her, that she almost died in this whole situation, was going to help push him towards killing her, knowing that he has to kill her, which I think it did play a part in it. Just even if it's just for the fact that it makes me right.
Speaking of right, semantics, how did Grey Worm get to the top of the stairs before Jon? He was out there killing people, running, and Jon was walking away, and then all of a sudden Jon climbs the stairs and Grey Worm's already there. Did he have Bran's jetpack, or what was going on with that?
No, they probably found Euron's body in his little teleportation device he's got down by the water.
I don't know why, but that was just right when I saw that and I saw him creep up on him, I was like, that was ridiculous. But JD, let's talk about some dragons. I think that might have been my favorite cinematic shot of the entire series when Dany was walking away and Drogon's wings came up and it looked like they were coming out of her like the true mother dragons. I think that was my favorite shot of the entire series. What do you think about that?
Dude, that was sick. That shot was literally probably one of the coolest shots I think I've ever seen on this show. And there's been a lot of cool shots. But yeah, to Jon walking up there and then her walking forward and the fucking wings of Drogon just spread out. I'm like, oh, that was cool. That was fucking sick. And then Drogon took off and then flew around for a second and then landed on the next to her. She was speaking and was roaring while she was speaking. That shit was priceless. I'm not a Dany fan, but I love Drogon, so that shit was fucking priceless.
Absolutely. What's up, fandom? Is Drogon the ultimate hype man or what? Every time Dany'd say a few words, he was like, oh, I was like, yeah. I didn't even like what she was saying, but I was like, hell yeah. Is Drogon the ultimate hype man of all time?
It's either now Drogon or freaking Lyanna Mormont as the ultimate freaking hype man of hype. So when it comes to magical creatures, yeah, it'll be Drogon. When it comes to humans, Lyanna Mormont. There you go.
Oh, so classic. Phoenix Rising 357. So what I feel is the end. We saw the show is just coming to the end of one of Grimm's books, but it totally goes on. So what Grimm says is, I believe the way he wants the show to end is orchestrated by him. Yeah, I don't think they say it kind of ends the same way, and I think there might be hints, but I think it's going to be a lot more different than what people think. And yeah, I realize they were already talking. I believe it's already confirmed that the first one that they are. We're just asking what everybody wants to see, but I think it's already confirmed that it's going to be The Long Night is going to be the first prequel. And I think George, because they keep talking to George, or George keeps talking about it, and he keeps calling it the Long Night, and they keep telling him to quit calling it the Long Night because that's just a working title. That's not the title of it. Got Sam Florid out there. How the hell did Jon and Tyrion understand Dany's speech in Valyrian? We already saw how bad Tyrion's Valyrian was. Yeah, absolutely. If we wanted to, we could just plug potholes for days and days and days, but we're going to try to.
I thought he could understand it, but he can't speak it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is Tyrion can understand High Valyrian. He just can't speak it very well. There's a lot of people who can do that shit.
I thought that it sounded like Tyrion was just telling Jon the tone. Like, did the tone sound like she was done? Like, how she was talking? Like, I don't understand German, but I can tell you that, like, Hitler's not saying positive stuff in his speeches, right? It's that kind of situation. You don't have to be able to understand it. I think that was like the point. I think they were pointing that out. Or at least it felt like it in that scene. They didn't explicitly say, "Did you hear what she said?" It was just like, did it sound like she was going to stop?
The moment Jon heard Winterfell, he understood that for sure.
Yeah, he heard Winterfell. He was like, what?
Yep, OTDA says the same thing. The tone, 1,000%. Timo says, plus she sounded like Hitler. That's when his ears parked. DJ Tony Scar says Buffalo sucks. Hey, that's all right. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, absolutely. They were going on, and that was absolutely ridiculous. But why would Tyrion act that way? Like, I got to say, right when I was having problems trying to get onto the HBO Now, it was blocking me off. It must have crashed, a million people hitting it at once. And, like, I didn't get on it for like 20 minutes. And then I went to I had to do some shit on my laptop to put in the code, whatever, download it. Anyway, I went to close my laptop, and the thing was open. And one of the streams, it said, damn you, Grey Worm, and poor Tyrion. And I was like, shit, spoiled. And, dude, when Tyrion walked up and picked off and threw off that Hand of the Queen, I was like, Grey Worm's about to snip his head right then and there. And then it was cool, it didn't happen, but why didn't it happen, Andy? Like, shouldn't he have been done right then and there? I can't believe he didn't die. Why would he go about it that way?
I think he thought he was going to die right there too. But the order wasn't given to kill him. So that's, I mean, Dany's restraint. Like, I was going to point it out later, but she was kind of talking. Like, she's going crazy, right? She thinks that, like, she thinks that she's going to be able to turn Tyrion around, I think, still in that moment. Like, he's going to see why I did this, just like she tries to pull on Jon, right? So she doesn't immediately order his execution. She's like, okay, I'm going to put him in jail, and I'm going to tell him. And then if he's not going to be my hand no more because he can't disrespect me like that. But I'm going to give him the chance to understand my point before I kill him, maybe, or before he's my prisoner, or whatever she was going to. I mean, she definitely was going to kill him, but she wanted him to understand because she's crazy.
If she wanted to kill him, she should have done it already, because she already knows that Tyrion, like, set her brother free immediately before he even said anything. So she could have actually had Grey Worm just, like, kill him at this point. Because didn't she say, like, before even going to King's Landing, that don't betray me again? And that's what immediately he does, betrays him.
Yeah, but that kind of ruins the moment, right?
That would have been a shock value right there. You can see Tyrion just walk up, and all of a sudden Grey Worm just, like, stabs him in the throat or something. I'm like, what? And then as he's dying, he says, I know you unfreed your brother.
Well, yeah, then people would have been really pissed about that, I think. Like, that would have been like the whole Littlefinger thing, right? Like, oh, we know what you did. People wouldn't have liked that, I'm pretty sure.
People still don't like to see it at this point. So regardless,
I mean, they would have liked that less, I imagine.
What's up? Our little ninja snuck up on Jon, JD, and he just looked at her, and he's like holding her head. He's like, what happened to you? And I was just screaming at my TV like, what the hell do you think happened to her? Your queen just dropped a city on her. Like,
yeah, but she wasn't supposed to be there. That's the thing. She wasn't supposed to be there.
I mean, I get it,
and
but
that's why she told him.
Look at her. You know what happened.
Oh yeah, but she wasn't supposed to be there. So that's that was the first thought of Jon's. Like, well, what the fuck happened to you? Well, I came here to kill Cersei, and then I ended up running through the streets of fucking King's Landing, trying not to die by dragon fire.
So do you think when John told her to meet him outside the city gates, at that point, was he already planning on killing Danny? Or was he just going to tell Danny, you're crazy, I'm out, and try to bounce?
I don't think he had decided what he was going to do yet. Because that's right before the Tyrion conversation, isn't it? Or is it after it? I can't remember.
That's before. That's right. That's before.
Yeah, so it's before. So I think he had made up his mind what he was doing yet. I knew he was pissed. And he knew something needed to change, but he didn't know if he could do it by talking to her and trying to make her realize what she did was wrong, or if maybe he had murder as an intent. Who knows? We'll never know that situation, because in the conversation with Tyrion, you can see the wheels start really turning in his head about what he has to do. So,
do you agree with that, Andy? Because it seems like it's the sisters that were the constant turn. Like, it seemed like he was like, Danny's the queen, can do what he want. And then Arya's like, well, what do you think Sansa's going to bend the knee? How's Sansa going to feel about that? And he said the same thing to Tyrion when they're talking. He's like, I'm sorry it has to end this way. And then Tyrion, and we're going to talk about more about it, but yeah, Tyrion had to switch it up. He's like, are your sisters going to do it? What happens when your sisters don't do it? So it seems like it wasn't until he heard his family that he actually changed his mind about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that it all put together, right? Like he sees Arya, he hears Danny say Winterfell, and then Tyrion, I'm sure, notices that he heard Winterfell, and then that was a good point. Like, Tyrion's not totally dumb this season. He can't be 100% dumb. So he picked that out, that John would notice that, and he heard Winterfell, and he's like, this is going to happen. I mean, he wasn't wrong either. Like, Sansa's not going to bend the knee, and then she's going to go kill her people. But so by him pointing that out, like, that's what really pushed John over the edge, I think, to do it. He knew it was the right thing to do, but to actually do it, that's what pushed him over the edge.
The nudge. Well, we're going to be talking about what's going on with John and Tyrion, but just starting off, fandom, why did John have to give up his sword when he went in to talk to him? What was little T going to do? I mean, just starting off, I was like, where are they going with this situation? I'm glad they turned around.
He was going to talk to a prisoner, and they didn't know like what freaking Jon Snow was going to do with that sword or so. So I don't know. So I guess that's why he did it.
It was nice, but fandom, it was nice hearing little T talk about how he basically deserves this fate and not whinging about the sentence. But when he asked Ajon about, like, is there life after death? It was like, I guess it depends on who your friends are. Like, what do you think? Did you like that? I'm just fucking around, but did you like that conversation when he was talking about it? Because to me, it seemed more like Tyrion was having that conversation to save his own ass. Like, he was saying the truth, and he was saying, and things like that, you have to use truth. But it was almost more like, even after they got done talking, John went up and said, I'm sorry it has to end this way. And then Tyrion's like, shit, think quick. Sisters, boom, and then used his family against him. Like, you have to decide, and you have to decide now. So, I mean, was this more about saving his own ass or about John doing what was right?
I guess pretty much a bit of both, saving his ass and telling John to do what the hell was right. Because at that point, even when he was talking to Arya, even like talking to Tyrion, even when he was talking to Danny, like he was literally conflicted. At this point, he was on the fence. He didn't know what the hell to do at this point. And Tyrion pretty much gave him that advice. He's like, oh, you have to do what needs to be done. Because if not, we all know that Sansa was not going to bend the knee, and she was going to die.
Right. Andy, love is the death of duty. I mean, that's where I'm kind of going. It seemed like Tyrion went bug-eyed when John said something so intelligent, like, oh my God, did you come up with that? And then all of a sudden he's like, no, it was Master Aemon. And he's like, oh, phew. And that's why I think is like, he was more trying to play the Jedi mind trick than he was really trying to do what was right. It just really felt like he was just trying to save his own ass. How'd you feel about that, Andy?
I don't think it was necessarily him trying to save his own ass. But he was definitely trying to get vengeance in the process. Like, he didn't have the means to get vengeance, but John did, and he knew that. So, it's like someone just said in the chat, like, why? If he wanted to save his own ass, he could have just walked away, right? He didn't have to go up there. He knew he was dead by going up there.
But when he went up there, he was feeling extremely emotional because he just saw his dead siblings, and now he's had time to think about it in the cell, like, holy shit, what did I just do?
Yeah, but he wants revenge, right? And that's a way to get revenge. So maybe he understands that he's going to die, but he's definitely going to make sure that Danny gets hers too, and he's going to try to manipulate John. Yeah, like maybe he cares about the people of Westeros, and he's like, well, this isn't going to end well. We have to do something about it. There's probably some of that there, but there's definitely a lot more of this is the person that killed my brother, and I want her to pay for that.
What?
I honestly thought that Tyrion was, when he was walking to Danny, he had like some type of knife. He was going to try to kill her because he honestly could have killed her right then and there. Really.
No, okay, so yeah, I'll agree. Tyrion was very emotional, but he was an emotional state over a lot of things. It wasn't just Jaime and Cersei. It was literally the whole people of King's Landing. He wanted to protect the people. So when he walked up to Danny and he goes, and she looks at him and she goes, "You committed treason. You released your brother." And he goes, "Yeah, I released one person and you murdered a whole fucking kingdom." And, and he threw the fucking thing off and walked off. So he knew he was in trouble. I said that in the video before episode 5. She knew Tyrion had fucking betrayed her. So Tyrion already knew he was a dead man. Even after freeing Jaime and letting him go, he even said that, he goes, "Yeah, I'm probably going to end up dead for freeing you guys." He knew he was going to die for that situation. He knew it. So when he went and talked to Jon, yeah, I think he was trying to try and get himself out of that situation to where he didn't have to die, because he knew if Jon took out Danny, then that order's gone, or it goes to another person, whoever they make king. But on top of it, he admits it. He goes, "I made a mistake and Varys was right. I killed my best friend and he was right in that situation. He was 100% right in that situation. And I fucked up and I followed the queen I made. And, I can't change that now. But you can." And I actually really enjoyed the scene with Terry and Jon. It was really well done. I can say that for one fucking scene in this whole show. That was really well written. It was freaking phenomenally written.
Yeah, that was. You're gonna that. We take it when we can when we get some good writing, and that was definitely one of the better written ones. But I mean, don't you think it felt? And hold on real quick, because we definitely got a couple more legends that hit the chat. What's good, my man Based? I see out there. Bridge 4, Kev, good to see you out there. Living my Rhapsody. What's up? What's up? Big Pete, Easy in the house. I'm so glad you can make it through. What's up? We got the fam in the house. Thanks for all being here. But what's up, Andy? I mean, just to tie this all up, were you happy with the overall? Or did you think it felt rushed, or was it one of the better speeches, or just overall that Tyrion Jon situation? Like, were you happy with it?
Yeah, I like that scene. You got Tyrion, you kind of get a little of the old Tyrion because he does understand Jon as a person and that how to pluck at his heartstrings. And that he's kind of a vulnerable dude. He understands that Jon knows the right thing, but he has this honor to him. You have to also consider that Tyrion knows the honor that got Ned killed, right? Wanting to do the right thing got Ned killed, and Jon is going to be subject to that same kind of mentality. So he needs that extra push. Hey, I know that this, what happened, you're pledged to this person, but think of all the negative that comes from this thing of you trying to keep your honor. And I would have overall, I liked it. I kind of wish they would have pointed out that honor thing more, because I think there's some potential there to point out you lived because your dad, or because Ned chose to he chose dishonor over allowing Robert to kill you, essentially. So this is kind of Jon's dishonor to save the realm. He dishonored himself, and it's kind of parallel. Been cool if Tyrion pointed that out, but overall, I think that was a well-written scene. It's good. What's that, DJ?
I was speaking about great scenes. What's up, Phantom D Saint? My second favorite visual was when Jon walked up on that big pile of snow, and all of a sudden it shook, and it was Sick Dragon that came out of the snow. That looked so tight. And we heard Tyrion say that he's heard that some people say that dragons are smarter than men. When Drogon came up and he shook all that snow off and looked Jon face to face, do you think he had the feeling that he knew what Jon was getting ready to do?
Hell no. He's probably gonna say, "Oh, this dude's probably gonna, smash my mom's cheeks. Oh, whatever. Just go, just go." Like that was pretty much what I saw right then and there with that scene.
Oh man, I don't know. What do you think, Dragon to Dragon? Do you think dragons are smarter than men, and maybe he knew what was about to happen?
Oh no, he didn't know John was going to kill Danny. I highly doubt he even had an inkling of that because they bonded that whole last season and became really close to each other. So I think at that point in time, he just thought he was going to see Danny, nothing to worry about. But yeah, he kind of he screwed the pooch on that defense. But to tell you the truth, I think if it had been anyone else besides John or Grey Worm or Tyrion, I think they wouldn't have got past that dragon. I think they'd have been fucked. I don't think the dragon would have let them through.
Huh. I got something to that scene. That scene was, I literally laughed out loud when that happened because it was like a video game when you get to a boss fight. My God, and just like the boss appears out like Bloodborne or some shit. Like you walk into an area and you're like, oh, what is this? And then all of a sudden a boss appears. You're like, holy shit. That is exactly what it looks like. I thought that as it was going, and then I love memes. So I saw a meme of it later. I was like, I'm glad someone made that. Someone with some Photoshop skills made that because that is immediately what I thought. It was so great.
I thought visually it was amazing. I love that scene when he came up and shook that off. I thought, we see where they spent most of the money. It was on the dragons.
I seriously thought that was a fucking pile of rubble laying there. I was watching John walk there. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And all of a sudden, I'm like, holy fuck, that's Drogon. That shit was cool.
Oh, it was awesome. Yo, fandom, when Danny actually touched the Iron Throne, that was when I basically knew, like, yep, she's dead, because they allude to that in Danny's dream when she's about to touch the Iron Throne. The very next thing she sees is walking north of the wall and her dead son and husband. So were you feeling like that was curtains for her, or what did you feel about that when Danny finally touched the Iron Throne?
I knew she was gonna die point blank after episode 5 in the hands of freaking Jon Snow. People were like, "Oh, green eyes! It's gonna green eyes! It's gonna be freaking Danny." I'm like, "No, it's gonna be freaking Jon is gonna be killing Danny." And the moment you even see her like touching, about to like even approach the Iron Throne, I'm like, "Okay, she's gonna touch it," because in the House of the Undying, she doesn't even get to touch it, and she does. I'm like, "Okay, she's gonna sit on it or something." And she doesn't. So I'm like, okay, so you just pretty much just touch the damn throne, but you don't even want her to sit on it at all? I'm like, wow. Just wow.
Oh, what'd you think about that, Andy? Were you sad that she didn't actually sit on the throne? Did you think she was ever going to, or did you pretty much just waiting for her to get the curtain shot?
Oh, I was just waiting for her to die. I was pretty sure she wasn't going to sit on it. But I'm surprised that she even touched it. Because I was really hoping, like they kind of did a lot. It looked very similar to, that House Undying scene. It would have been nice if she would have like just went out to touch it and turned around. That would have been perfect. And then you would have known, because you would have known right then, like, oh shit, she's never going to sit on it right there. Like he's going to do it. And, that would have been a good, foreshadow right before it happens.
Absolutely. Like Celador just said, Iron Throne forged by dragon fire, melted by dragon fire. That scene was just so sweet. When Aegon and Danny are talking in the throne room, he asked her, how does she know what's good? And then asked, what about everybody else who thinks what's good? And she says, they don't get to choose. And that seems to be like when he makes up his mind on what needs to be done. And why was it okay for him to say that Sansa didn't get to choose earlier when him and Arya were talking about Danny? Arya was like, what, you think Sansa's going to bend the knee? And Jon was like, well, Sansa doesn't get to choose. But now all of a sudden when Danny says the other people get to choose, this seems to be what kind of snaps Snow. It's like, what was up with that? What do you think about that, Dragon?
I think that goes back to that whole conversation with Tyrion. When he's sitting there, he's like, well, think about your sisters. Danny at this point in time is the most powerful person in the world flying a fucking nuclear weapon. And unless you And it got proven, unless you can take her and the dragons by surprise with Ballestae, you ain't going to fucking win that fight. And if Sansa doesn't bend the knee, Winterfell's going to fucking burn like King's Landing did. And I think that's what Tyrion made Jon realize in that conversation. He's like, dude, your sister doesn't have a fucking choice. Either she bends the knee or she's going to burn. And when Dany said, you know, they don't have that choice, he's like, well, you can't really be the emperor of the world. You need to let this shit go. And, you know, Tyrion was right about that. You think she's going to stop here? No, she's going to continue to keep going. And, you know, you're right. That's when Jon made up his mind. He's like, nah, this shit's got to stop. It's got to stop here now, because I'm not going to keep going through this war and this carnage and this shit consistently just for you. Ain't going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You agree with all that, Andy?
Like, for sure. Yeah. Like, I think that, yeah. So he gets the hint from Arya. Like, that happens 3 times, right? He says it to Tyrion, doesn't he? Like, they don't have a choice. And then Tyrion's like, but you do. And you have to choose right now. Like, you have to decide right now. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but I think he does say that in the thing. Like, you have to choose. Like, you're the one that can choose. You get to do this. It's your decision. But you have to do it now. And that's why, like, it's that 3rd time that he's actually heard that, and he has to make a decision. Like, he heard it from Tyrion, and then so when he says it to her, like, it's almost like a question. It's or probing for what her thought process of whether she's honorable or whatever in her intentions, right? Like, or she's a hypocrite like everybody else. So that, you know, that's why I think it was okay for him to bring that up there.
Fandom, did you ever think at any time after, because after he killed Dany, Drogon just started squawking big time. Did you think at any point that he was going to roast Aegon? Drogon was going to roast Aegon?
There was like 20% of me was like, yo, is he going to kill Jon Snow? If so, damn, he had balls to kill Jon Snow the 2nd time around. But nope, he doesn't kill him. I was like, okay. All right, then. That was like underwhelming.
Oh, you were underwhelmed by that one?
Yep, because I thought he was gonna kill him. And he does it. And then I wanted to know, okay, if freaking Jon Snow, you know, is engulfed in flames, was he gonna, like, you know, come out of it unscathed or what?
Right.
But we didn't get that answer.
See if the Targaryen true dragon doesn't burn. We got Slam for a read out there. It says Tinfoil Tuesday. So I think Drogon realized that it wasn't Jon that killed Dany. It was the Iron Throne because it made her crazy. So he decided to destroy the Iron Throne. Slam for read. That is not tinfoil. That's exactly what happened because dragons are smarter than men. And he knew exactly why his mama got. And that's why he roasted the throne.
So you're saying that Drogon is almost as intelligent as Smaug.
More so.
When the hell is Drogon gonna start talking?
Hey, you don't need to talk. He's so above, like you couldn't even understand him. You're not even on his level. He's above all that. You got some catching up to do.
How? Well, you said earlier, like your favorite scene was Tyrion and Jon. I think that was my favorite. My second favorite, like the conversation between Dany and Jon. It might not seem like so crazy, but I'm kind of white trash. So I've had like where an ex-girlfriend like tries to get rid of a current girlfriend and then justify it like this makes everything okay. Like gets a girlfriend arrested and is like, yeah, but now we can be together. Like it's almost like that crazy side chick that's trying to like get rid of your wife, where she's like, and she's speaking as if this makes so much sense in her brain, but to everybody else, you're like, dude, she's freaking crazy, and she doesn't realize it. I thought it was so beautifully done in that manner. Like that gave me feelings of like past them. I've never had a side chick with my wife. I'm throwing that out there, but I've had crazy ex-girlfriends that try to justify crazy shit, and they sound just like Dany did. It's such good acting. Whatever. I was so amazed with it. It was amazing.
Nice.
But the worst scene in the whole episode was the very first shot of you get of the Iron Throne melting. It looked like one of those old claymation movies. Just the first one. Before it cut away, I was like, man, that looked like some terrible CGI like you would see in those old claymation Christmas movies. It looked just like that.
Yeah. You agree with all that, Dragon? Like about the iron chair and why did the dragon? In your opinion, why did the dragon melt the iron chair?
Well, I'm with you. I don't think the melting of the chair was so far fetched to be like a political thing because he looks, you hear him screaming out there, whatever. And I'm like, fuck, John's dead. That was my first initial thought. And then Drogon gets over there and he's kind of like pushing Danny and he looks at John, he looks at the throne, he looks at Danny, he looks at John, and then he just fucking melts that throne. And I think that's that he realized what killed her. It wasn't John that meant, it wasn't John that killed her. John loved her. It was her fucking power. It was her reign for being an empire. It's what she wanted to do. And Timo said it best. He lost his family. He lost Viserion, he lost Rhaegal, and he lost Danny, all to this fucking Iron Throne, and he was done. So he melted it, picked his mom up, and gone. That actually makes pretty good fucking sense to me. If you want to make dragons smarter and you watch the way Drogon reacts to everything that's going on in that scene, it makes a lot of sense, actually. And I do agree with Andy when the throne started to melt and it just kind of like barely starting to lay over. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
It was weird. Like that first dragon breath didn't really do anything to it. And then the second one, it just went, total claymation on it. That was crazy. Got Big Pete Easy saying, then he nudges her like he doesn't understand death. I don't know. I think he was just making sure, like, get up, mama, like anything buddy would do just to make sure she actually is dead. And then he's like, I think he knew exactly what was up. Timo said she wanted that pyro bitch to die. Then the dragon cried over his mommy. That was sad. And I'm team fuck them dragons. Oh, I am not. I am 100% for the dragons. And yeah, it was a crushing last 2 episodes. Absolutely ridiculous. Look at my Rhapsody said that was such a sad scene. Just him nudging her. Absolutely. That was really sad. They did it. Every scene with the dragon, it looked so real. That was my thing. Like it looked like a dragon nudging her. Like their CGI was on point with the dragons. Do you think so? I mean, I know you're Team Lannister, but what do you think about all the CGI with the dragons this year's fandom?
CGI was good, so good. It's like, okay, this is why Ghost wasn't hardly in any scenes, and only Jon Snow got to pet him like one time because they invested all that good money on these damn dragons.
Absolutely. What's up, Snafu? Where is Dragon taking our girl Danny? And before you answer that, we got to give a quick shout out to the one and only link bringer Cameo because before it even started, she had said that she thinks that Eric, try again. I don't know what happened there. But she said that she thinks that Danny is going to die and Dragon is going to pick up her dead body and fly away with it. And she called it pretty much verbatim. That was pretty tight. So shout out to Cameo. Good job. But where the hell is that dragon taking Danny, Andy?
Old Valyria. That's what they were saying, right? It was spotted over Old Valyria. It started to say that before Bronn interrupted. I'm pretty sure that's what he was saying.
Weren't they saying it was spotted flying east?
Yeah, over Old Valyria, I thought.
I don't remember the Old Valyria part.
I think Sam was about to say where east, but he got like interrupted.
That's what I meant. East over Volantis.
That could be. I was kind of myself thinking that Danny was finally getting taken back to Ashai, like Jorah was trying to get her there the whole time. I don't know, maybe some crazy red magic's going to bring her back for another show down the road or something. What up?
Finally get Lady Stoneheart.
She's going to be the Lady Stoneheart coming back. I don't know about that. Why did we need a 32-second shot of an up-close shot of Tyrion's face, Dragon? Like, the episode wasn't long enough, and I already couldn't believe Aegon just killed Danny, and we're only halfway through the episode, and we had to stare at Tyrion. I mean, he's a good-looking guy, but did I need to stare at his face for 32 seconds?
No. Neither did I. I didn't know. What's happening? Are you going to jump out and stab him? And
right?
We get the and he takes off walking. But I was just like, yeah, I'm with you. I didn't I don't know why we had to sit there. Maybe it was to see the grief or something on his face. I don't know.
I mean, he instantly twitched his eye, so we know he's not dead. I mean, if they would have just had him sitting there staring, at least you're thinking, oh, God, is Tyrion dead or something? But
yeah,
nothing. He twitched his eye instantly and just – I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess they need to give Dinklage a little more screen time. And that actually annoyed me for a minute. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that scene. It wasn't you didn't have to draw it out that long. They could have, had him sit up as soon as they freaking kicked the camera on him. He could have been sitting up with the footsteps walking down the hall. It worked out perfect.
I mean, all the scenes they cut, and I get 32 seconds of that, dude. That was worse than freaking Gilly and Sam on the boat talking about the sea is the sea shit. I was like, are you kidding me with this? But anyway, fandom, we got Yara mad because she's about to lose the Iron Islands. But how great was that Arya line when she said, say one more word about my brother, and I will cut you, bitch. That was awesome.
That was my favorite. One of my favorite lines in this damn episode when freaking Yara was talking shit about John, and she was like, "What?" She was not even afraid to even say that out loud. Like, oh, I actually would love to see that, a fight between Arya and Yara.
I don't think that'd be a fight. That'd be a massacre.
No, Yara even knew that. She was like,
She should have quit, didn't she?
She leaned back and she was like, all right, yeah, she will kill me. Just like fucking Sansa did to Edmure. They both were like, all right.
Let me just sit my ass down and shut up. But fandom, Davos does it again and smooths out an intense situation. And I like how he starts speaking a line like in Grey Worm's language, just kind of like, hey, man, listen, we're all trying to be cool here. And then reminded all of us that this country does owe them a huge debt that can never be repaid, but let us try. There's good land in the Reach that no one's using. It's like, did he kind of know about the deal that Bronn had already made with the Tyrion and the brothers and maybe trying to get rid of that or do something about that? Or is he just trying to be a good statesman?
Yeah, he's going to be a good statesman because he doesn't know anything about the agreement between, Tyrion and Bronn. I don't think anyone knows at this point until after he pretty much became like in the hand of the king. Then he pretty much gave it to Bronn, which surprised me. I'm like, wait a minute. Just a few episodes ago, Bronn was like, he's in the shadows. And all of a sudden he just emerges and he pretty much is controlling it. I'm like, what? All right, Lannisters pay their debts.
Absolutely. We got Big Pete Easy talking about Yara was independent but became subordinate again. It should only be 5 kingdoms. And I agree with that, Andy. It's like, but she wasn't smooth. She didn't do what Sansa did. And we're going to get there anyway. But Sansa, first off, fuck Sansa. But she did, the one thing I will give her is she little fingered the shit out of that situation. She waited for everybody else to speak. And then she's like, gotcha. What do you think about all that, Andy?
Yeah, that. Well, wait, shit. Where did we start at? There was with Yara. Sorry. How about fucking Grey Worm? Right? Okay, he's gonna do what his queen wants, right? Why didn't he say the Iron Islands? You don't rule the Iron Islands anymore. She does. If it's all about what the queen wanted and shit, well, we just forget that part. The hell out of here. Like, oh, we're gonna uphold this other shit, but not that. If I was her, I'd be like, fuck you, Grey Worm. Like, we're gonna kill you guys. Like, we're gonna attack you guys from all around. You can't hold this city. Like, I don't know. I didn't understand that. I was like, Grey Worm's a dick this episode. What the hell? And then, yeah. Do you want me to talk about the Sansa thing?
I guess we can get there. We got Sam Florida said if the Unsullied killed the Lannister soldiers for following Cersei, why, if they did not torture and kill the man that literally killed their queen, what the fuck? Plot armor, I guess. And they probably had seen the Northern armies coming outside and wanted to see what was what. And I think that just goes to speak about that Grey Worm really was trying not to just be a murderous killer. He was trying to do what was right the whole time. If he wasn't, Tyrion would be dead. He would have killed him. You set up our thing. My queen said you should be dead. You should be dead. Jon isn't dead or killed right now because Jon killed the queen. He should definitely be dead. Grey Worm didn't just come in and kill him. He's like, okay, my queen's no longer queen. There's going to be a new ruler. Let me wait and see what everybody does. And he waits and watches what the council wants. I mean, I think there's so much hate for Grey Worm, and I think he was trying to do, in his mind, what was best at every step of the way. What do you think about that, fandom?
Isn't it that old saying that, sell swords, fight for gold, which we call it knights for royalty, not royalty, excuse me, for honor. I don't know why I said royalty for some reason. Then freaking Unsullied obey. So it's like, I guess you just couldn't because he needed someone to like tell him to do it. So he just kept him alive. Like, I don't know. Because for me, even I would expect the same thing. Like, he could have easily just killed Tyrion and just kept Jon Snow alive. But I don't know.
I mean, what do you think about that, Andy? I mean, I think he was as fair as he knew how and was capable for himself to be.
Yeah, I think he was pretty fair as far as that goes, because even if he knows, like, okay, if everybody attacked right now, we would lose because this is like the whole seven. There's no way we could hold the city against seven kingdoms, right? He could have at least avenged his king or his queen, right? But that's not really what it was about. Like, he was trying to be honorable. If you really think about it, their justification, like, well, it happened, the murder happened in our kingdom, so it stays within, like, we get to rule over that. What happened to, like, just 10 minutes earlier or a couple seconds earlier where you were like, well, we hold the kingdom. So really it's the Unsullied kingdom at this point. They hold the seat, King's Landing. So he was being nice, just allowing them to, like, even rule over what happens to Tyrion and Jon, because their justification made no sense. Oh, it happened in our land, so it's our land now. We took it. Although I did kind of feel like they took a lot of credit for stuff that they didn't really do because the Lannister soldiers gave up and shit. So it was really Drogon that did all of it, but
but who's feeding the dragon? I guess he's feeding himself by now.
Yeah. So I mean, I was a little critical of that, but I was like, wait, at least he didn't kill him. I don't know. He kind of was being a little fair. He even went by their rules. So
absolutely. Dragon, who do you think would have been a better fit at Highgarden, the House Unsullied or House Bronn of the Blackwater?
Me and Scrub are actually having this argument in the chat right now. Now, you guys don't get me wrong. I don't fucking like Bronn just about as much as I did. Actually, no, I liked him a lot less than I even liked the Hound. And he's barely above Jaime and below the Hound. So he's, in that middle tier. So, no, I fucking hated Bronn. I can understand why the Unsullied didn't be there, too. I mean, why would you want to be in a continent where you're getting looked at like they did, especially from the Northerners? I don't blame him for leaving one bit. I wish Bronn would have got his throat cut somehow. I'd have been happy. But, leave the Reach to somebody else. I'd have been good with it. So I could give a fuck less about the Reach. That's my answer.
Oh, no. How about you, fandom? What do you think about that? Who's a better ruler out there in the Reach? Would it have been the Unsullied or Big Bronn?
Bronn at this point, like the Unsullied, like they're just pretty much good at killing at this point. I don't know. At this point, I would rather put like Bronn as the ruler of Reach at this point, because you can easily just educate him, but he doesn't appear to be that stupid. So.
Well, I don't know. Davos had to correct him later when we got the new grammar Nazi out of Stannis. It's like one of his traits he picked up. Had to correct him, so he's not that intelligent. But I mean,
that's just grammar. Like I can say a certain president that's not good at grammar, and he's running shit.
So what about you, Andy? You don't think that those guys ever talked about it? You don't think Davos knew about the deal or what had happened between Bronn and the two brothers about the deal with the Reach?
I think you would have to know. Like, there's no way Tyrion. It's Bran we're talking about here. Tyrion has to convince Bran as to why he's going to give this sellsword the Reach and make him master of coin. So, yeah, people know about it. At least Bran knows about it. There's no way. I would follow, because if he goes to, even bringing that to Bran's attention, Tyrion bringing it to Bran's attention, like Bran would have to be like, well, I'm going to go back and look at why he wants this guy. Like, let me look at his character. Where's he been all this time? Why wasn't he fighting in the war? He would have to look at it. So he knows about the deal for sure. But, I would have just gave him High Guard and whatever. Why is he the Master of Coin? I don't understand that. Like,
yeah, we'll get to the small council and how ridiculous that is, but yeah, that's a whole thing in itself. But heard an awful lot of hate. People expect, even in the end, he didn't kill. So yeah, we talked about Grey Worm. So I mean, yeah, it was just all that hate for Grey Worm basically is what all that boiled down to. And I mean, if he was just a savage or barbarian, Tyrion and Aegon would both be dead. And I don't know, even when he tells Tyrion to shut up, because I mean, he tells Tyrion, everybody has heard enough out of you. Literally every single plan that Grey Worm has heard Tyrion come up with has epically failed, like epically. So why wouldn't he be so mad? I mean, he literally should have killed Tyrion, and the fact that he didn't, I think, just shows that he is using his own mind, and that Grey Worm's actually a good cat. I mean, yeah. Everyone has heard enough from you. How great was that Edmure speech, though, JD? After all this time and still absolutely clueless, he couldn't even sit back down without showing how unkingly he was. That was just an Arya's priceless.
I've been through 2 wars, and I think I'm the most mature. Sit down, Uncle. Really? You got put in place by a year-old motherfucker. One that he's scared of, and you could see it in his eyes. Dude is scared of his fucking niece. He is scared of Sansa.
It should be.
You could see it in his fucking eyes, dude. When she said sit down, he's like, okay, yes, ma'am. No, Edmure, they kept Edmure. They played him out like a fool. It was funny.
That was great. I didn't even understand who a couple of those cats were on the council. Like, am I missing something? Do I not remember these cats? It was like they should have made that a little more. But I guess it was just people coming. Yeah, they should have made that a little more apparent who it was. But how great was that when Sam tried to introduce democracy and got laughed off stage, Andy?
That was great. But, I mean, it does kind of make sense, right? That they would laugh him off because people are loyal to their lieges, right? So, so naturally, because before this point, Sansa hadn't said that the North is going to be the North. Well, the North got decimated, right? So then they don't get any representation in the council because they don't have enough people to vote, right? Dorne is in the same boat. In the books, they talk about how Dorne has the least amount of people, and they're just basically pretending that they have powerful forces. It's like a ruse that they're so powerful, but they talk about that they're not. So, it would kind of be like, whoever's running King's Landing at this point, they have the most power as to who gets. So it does make sense that you bring in the lords and then they vote together. How it turns out. So, I kind of agreed with laughing it off at that point. Like, gotta look ahead.
Fandom, when they asked Tyrion who the king should be, he said he's had lots of time to think about it, and then he came up with who better than Bran. Was Bran warging little T and putting those thoughts in his head to arrive at this outcome?
He could have. He very much could have. It's a good tinfoil, honestly, but I don't know. Like, at this point, of all the people he could have chose, he could have chose anyone, but he chose Bran, and I was just puzzled. Like, really, Bran? And he even calls him Bran the Broken. It's like, if I was freaking Bran, I'd be like, yo, stop calling me Bran the Broken. I'm a 3-eyed raven. Like, oh my gosh, it really took me back. So I don't think anyone ever called him like Bran the Broken before. So it was like, what the fuck? Is this like new? Or is this like, no, like he's like literally the Bran the Broken or whatever they're calling behind his back. But even then, it's like, I still wonder, like, and what was it, episode 2? Where him and Tyrion were talking. It's like, I wonder, like, what the hell he truly told him. Like, for when you can tell him, like, yo, for when I can end up being king when all this is said and done. Like, wait, what do you mean? Like, you can become king? So, I don't know. It's just so fuzzy when it comes to Brad. It's like, did he always knew? everything or not. It's like, did you just Doctor Strange it? Did you just know that you were gonna be, named the king, and you just kept quiet because you didn't want to like just do anything that might mess up the timeline or whatever to get you to that point? Because it's interesting how, and it was episode 4, he was like, oh, you could pretty much become like, the Lord or Winterfell thing. He's like, I don't want to become Lord or ruling of anything. And yeah, in this episode, he comes out of nowhere like, oh, this is what I was, here for, to become the king. It's like, what? Like, I don't know. I'm conflicted.
He said, as usual, I'm going to sit right here in the middle of this fence. You got Timo 30 out here saying, can we agree that the titty force is strong? Look at how big Sweet Robin got, and he had more bass in his voice than most of the men there. Shout out to Timo 30. What were you about to say, Andy?
It's a weird situation. Like, Bran clearly can see the future. He knows how shit's going to work out. I'm kind of the opinion, like I have been, that he can't. It's like where he knows this, he can't change things. Like, things are inevitable. But man, if he would have never, I was trying to think, like, maybe he needed all this to happen, right? Because maybe Dany slowly turns into madness, and then she can kill even more people, because this is the only opportunity for Jon to do what he did without getting too attached, right? Because it's like that whole adage where if you like increase, you can boil a frog by increasing it a little at a time. It doesn't know that it's being boiled. And that would be like, if she kills like millions of people gradually over time, like, Jon doesn't notice how evil she's getting, but she did it in an instant. So that is how you get rid of her, right? But then I think, like, well, if he never told Jon in the first place that he was a Targaryen, that would have never happened. She would have had a close-knit circle. Like, she would have had someone that loved her and would have kept her sane she wouldn't have been alone, and that would have never happened. So
maybe, or something else might have triggered her.
Yeah, but you have that like support structure that helps you through it.
Yeah.
Right? Without burning a whole millions of innocent people.
Absolutely. We got Pete Easy out there saying Bran told him to do it while they were in Winterfell. Celadora said Bran and Tyrion had that conversation before the Winterfell battle, so maybe something was said there. Phoenix Rhapsody, Classic Marty, Sansa, Hail Bran. There's so many people there deciding who was king, and they had no business being there. Like, Brian also was the Lord of the Reach. Oh, Bran was Lord of the Reach, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that it absolutely is that Bran either was saying something Morgan to him, or probably just said something to him up there, and they plotted and hatched this plan that far back. But Tyrion was still on board at that point. So, I mean, I don't think that here's
there. I got one argument with the thing. He didn't warg anybody. The only person he ever warged was Hodor. And you have to look at what Hodor went through when he warged him. And Hodor was a simpleton. Do you really think that Tyrion would have just went, Bran's our king, being warged? No, dude. He'd have fucking fell to his knees screaming, fucking flopping on the ground. Warging didn't happen. Sorry, guys. I had to throw that one.
Okay, but look at this, because first of all, Hodor wasn't a simpleton. He was pretty smart, because when he was talking about going to battle, oh boy, Lyanna told him, make sure, and he's like, I know. He always he was in it. He knew exactly what was up.
I get that, but you got to look at what he went through. Look at the pain and torment Hodor went through when Bran warged him.
Right, and that was going to be my second point, was maybe, and I hate having to justify the freaking show, but maybe, just maybe, that's why we have to stare at Tyrion's face for 32 seconds straight, because he was just all flopped out on the floor because he was basically warged by Bran, and he had just gone through that.
I don't think so.
Back too. There's my tip for Tuesday for you.
Well, here's the other problem we have. We see the vision of when little Hodor goes fucking insane. Wouldn't Tyrion go insane too?
What's that?
Okay, that's the reason Hodor only said Hodor and went nuts, because of what happened.
Oh, you're making me mansplaining or a story.
But Tyrion didn't go nuts.
I know, I see what you're saying. I see where you're going, but I would just say that because Hodor was a young child and his brain wasn't fully developed, and Tyrion was almost like a super genius.
See, here's the thing. You're doing this. You're doing this. I gotta make me a tinfoil crown and ship it to fucking DJ, man. Like, damn, you're reaching.
That'll be his for successfully making it through my Survivor game. But
now I can get on board if Bran and Tyrion, when they wouldn't have their talk of him going, hey, by the end of this, if everything goes fucking sideways, this is a plan to go with. I can see that happening in Winterfell, them having that conversation. Do I believe it happened? Probably not. But there's a chance that it could have happened. But I do believe with the whole holding your memories, and everybody's like, well, the next king that gets elected is going to be fucked. It's going to screw everything up. Not if they continue it kind of like the Night's Watch situation where your king can't get married, can't have an heir, can't have anything, and has to be a green seer and has to be trained for so many years with that king before him to get the sight of the three-eyed raven. Then you will be fine. But you still have a case where you could get a madman and he uses that shit to his advantage. So it could be, but if you lay it out to where no marriage, no heir, no nothing like that, and it has to be a green seer, you could probably be able to control it a little bit better.
To the Bran warging Tyrion, I think in the show you can't you actually can't warg a human at all, aside from Hodor, because Hodor was warged in the past via the future. That means, like, as far as time travel goes, like, that's a loop that always happens. Like, essentially, there's no start to it because Bran does it as his future self, but it happens in the past. So it's like this cycle. So he can only warg Hodor because Hodor's already been warged because of the future thing. So there's no start to it. So I don't think he can warg any other humans. And it's only because of that, like, break. Without me going on too long of a tangent, it's because he's already always done it. So Hodor can only be warged, and he's the only one. I think that was their explanation when they did the time travel. And it was like kind of that mixed connection. He was trying to warg Hodor in the present, but he was in the past, and that's what made Hodor be able to be warged in the first place. But he could always be, it's because he already could be warged, and now he made the past him be able to be warged. But it's like this permanent thing, and that's the only reason that a human can be warged.
David H. says, Willis is going nuts is a result of seeing his future. Willis became linked to Hodor and sees the whites chasing him. And that's what sent him off. I like that. But anyway, bringing it back to our first fuck Sansa moment of the of the episode, when Tyrion starts to lay out all the reasons why Bran would have made the best king, Sansa instantly tried blocking it. Fandom, what was up with that?
Did she try to block it? Like, everyone's saying aye, and then she was like, nope. I want my damn independence.
She was instantly like, well, Bran can't have kids, and Bran can't do this.
Yeah, this is. I think that's why they pretty much, made him king because of that point. So I guess that's why Tyrion actually just voted for him. Like, he has like no self-interest. He can't father. I think he just knew about it. So I think that's why. But they just like brought it up. Like, yeah. Also, this dude can't have kids, just in case if anyone didn't notice.
Right.
Or known the condition of his fall.
Right.
But I don't think it was like a fuck you moment, really.
I don't know. What about you, Andy? Because she said all that, and then basically Tyrion had to look at her and be like, well, good that he can't have kids, because as I'm sure you'll agree, king's kids can be stupid and cruel. And he had to shut her down. Like, he was going for it.
That was Sansa making her play for the throne, right? Realizing that she instantly knew she wasn't going to get it. So she was like, whatever. I was just trying to get a little extra. I knew that I was getting the North. I was trying to get a little extra. See, what is it, that Wayne Gretzky quote? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. She was going for it. She didn't know if she was getting it for sure, but she was going to try. And if it didn't work, she always had her backup plan.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. That's exactly what it was. She's like, I already know I'm gonna get something, but let me just see how much. Dude, and like again, Sansa little fingered the shit out of that situation. She waited for that. She got shut down with that. And then Tyrion says, from now on, all rulers will be born. They will be chosen, or they won't be born. They'll be chosen on this spot by lords and ladies of Westeros. And I was like, first of all, well, then who gets to pick which lords and ladies are the ones that get to be the ones who choose it? And yeah, I mean, what about that, BB? Or we'll go with you, JD. Who gets to pick the new lords and ladies? How's that going to work out?
If they're gonna do it right, and who's gonna choose the king, it has to be the lord and lady of every house, your ruling house or whatever. It has to be that way. You have to, whoever's ruling over the Reach, whoever ruling over, the Riverlands, all that. Those have to be your deciding factors. You can't just have 3 or 4 of them there. It has to be all of them.
So it's basically just the major houses of each one of those areas, maybe?
Yep. Yeah, I think you bring in Dorne, you bring in the Iron Island, you bring in every major house, and you sit them down and go, these are, we need to figure out who our next king is. These are the choices we got. Bam, 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 bam. And that's, you choose one.
I loved how when Davos just said, I'm not sure I get a vote, but that was great.
You're right. And I 100% agree with Andy. And yeah, Sansa was taking her shot. She wanted to be queen of everything.
Oh, absolutely. Like I was saying, you guys know I have absolutely zero love for Sansa, but you just have to give it to her there. She little fingered the shit out of that situation. She waited for everybody to say aye, which, first of all, fandom, why would Yara just give up the Iron Islands like that?
Didn't she give it up like when she was talking to Daddy? Or no?
No, she was still trying to get Jon killed because she's like, I said I was following my queen and he killed her. Let Jon get what he deserves. And Arya's like, say one more word.
Now I'm misunderstanding the question. Repeat it.
Well, I'm wondering why at this point Yara's still queen. I mean, she basically when she's there, she's sitting there as queen of the Iron Islands. The Unsullied hadn't taken the Iron Islands, and Dany gave her the Iron Islands. So why would she sit there and say aye to Bran being king of everything and just give it up just like that?
Honestly, I really have no answer for this.
No, we'll let you think about it. Let them know, JD. What's up with that?
So they all voted, right? I. When she said aye, she voted for her king. She was following Dany, and she wasn't the ruler of the Iron Islands. She was part of Dany's army. When she voted that situation and said aye, she gave up her chance to be like, I'm going to be queen of the Iron Islands. And that's when Sansa took her opportunity when she went, well, he can't have kids, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, it doesn't matter. And she's like, well, then I want the North.
Yeah, but that's not.
If Yara would have pulled that card, Yara would have had it too. But since she voted aye, she voted for a king.
Exactly. And that's my whole point, Andy. It's like, why would she vote aye right there? At this point, she's still queen of the Iron Islands.
Yeah.
Why would she just vote him off like that?
When she said aye, she put a king over her head.
That's what I'm saying. And then my whole point is, why would she do that?
That's why Sansa didn't vote.
Exactly. Well, that's why Sansa waited till last to vote, because she little fingered the shit out of it. But what's up, Andy?
I think it was maybe she is looking to the future. Like, the Iron Islands really can't exist on its own. It needs this. It's not like the North. The North doesn't need any of the southern parts. The Iron Islands is not that. It needs like other places, right? So maybe she was like betting on the future, where it's like, I'm not going to be queen of the Iron Islands now, but maybe my kid can become king of or queen of the 6 kingdoms, right? So it's like creating a better future for your children, not necessarily benefiting yourself. So it could be a situation like that.
I think it's 100% benefiting herself. She just saw the big picture. Like you said, she can't sustain herself, and she probably figured she'd rather be Lord Reaper than nothing. So it's like, at least if I do this, at least I can stay Lord Reaper of the Iron Islands, and I just won't be queen of it, which, I mean, what's the real difference? I mean, Nobody's going over to the Iron Islands. They don't really care. What's up? I see Red Rich hit to the chat. Welcome. We have so basically Sansa waits. So okay, that was the first thing. Second off, why aren't Dorne's words unbowed, unbent, unbroken? I mean, they said it in episode 4. He was the Prince of Dorne, and the only reason they get to still call themselves princes is because they never bent the knee. So now, like just like that, I'm sure like he's no longer prince. I didn't get that at all. Like so now Dorne is just bending knees and they're not princes anymore either, just like that. I mean, I didn't get that, Andy. What was up with that?
Well, I think they bent the knee to Dany, right? So they gave that up by joining her cause, right? And so she takes over the 7 kingdoms. Now she becomes queen of the 7 kingdoms for 5 minutes. And now they are subjects of the 7 kingdoms, right? So she dies, they're still subject to the 7 kingdoms or 6 kingdoms now. So maybe that's why. I can think of an excuse on why anything is the way it is. That's my justification for that one.
That's true. And what's up, Analysis of Thrones? Like he says, true, but within the traditional 7 kingdoms, the Iron Island is part of the Riverlands, which is absolutely truth. David H. says, unreliable narrator. The story told isn't what really happened. It's the final twist. Tyrion's speech is about telling stories. Brienne gives honor to Jaime. Sam's A Song of Ice and Fire has no Tyrion. Yeah, I know that was – we're going to get to that too. That was absolutely great. But Sansa waits for them all to submit, and then she turns and says, I love you, little brother, but fuck off. I'm the queen of the 7 kingdoms. I'm not queen of the 7 kingdoms, but I'm sure as hell keeping the north. And Bran's like, yeah, okay. Did they already have this like plotted out before they got down here, fandom, or did she just pull this right at this time?
She had that plot out since like what, episode 2? Like the moment like they even like learned that Jon freaking bent the knee to Dany. She been wanting her independence back. So this is pretty much a situation where she can pretty much like ask for it right here and there. That's why she was kind of like happy that Bran became ruler, because with him it's easier to say, oh, can I pretty much have our independence and I can become queen. That's why I don't think that she actually just wanted the Iron Throne, because she was pretty much meant to like rule the North. She knows nothing about ruling freaking 7 kingdoms.
You agree with that, JD? Because she didn't ask. She told him. She's like, I'm not asking for it. I'm telling you, we ain't about it.
Well, and she's been, just like Broke said, she's been saying it for the last couple of episodes. We have gotten our asses kicked by the kings we bent our knees to. The North is done bending. Well, now she has the chance to become ruler, and her brother's the fucking king. Of course he's going to let her fucking become queen. He still can go, hey, sis, I need your help now. And she's going to come running. She's an ally. They're just not subject to the rules of the 7 kingdoms, but they're still allies. They still have the back of the fucking 7 kingdoms. So the North is still there, whether it's a kingdom part or its own self.
Yeah, it's nice when it's family, but what happens when it's not? What happens when they go down and somebody,
Then there's going to be a battle after Bran and Sansa are gone, or even Bran's gone. It's going to be a fight. There'll be a battle to bring the North back to the 7 kingdoms.
It's going to be an absolute problem. So let's get into it. Probably the biggest fuck Sansa moment of this entire story. So Sansa's good enough to negotiate her own kingdom, but not Aegon's freedom. She didn't even ask. She just told everybody the North ain't agreeing to shit, and that look on Yara's face was like, fuck, why didn't I do that? But then Tyrion's look was like, shit, Littlefinger did teach you pretty good, and almost looked like he got slapped in the face. Like he kind of looked back like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. And he was mad because the Starks just played him, because he looked at like Sansa and he looked at Bran and then even looked at Arya and Arya just had that look like on Sansa like, wow, you really are the smartest person I know. So it's like, I don't even think Tyrion saw all this coming. And Sansa, if she's this good to be so smart that she can outwit Tyrion in his own so-called plan, but she can't freaking negotiate Jon, who is the reason for everything, is freedom. What the fuck, Andy?
Yeah, I don't really understand that. And just like I said before, like once the Unsullied leave, you don't even have to listen to it. Like they don't have any say. Like why? Doesn't make any sense. And then once they're up in the north, they're up in the north. Now he's in a different country. I mean, it's not like. Never mind. I can't even finish that because I can't remember the name of when you send somebody back. But whatever.
When you banish somebody?
No. When you send them, like, if I had a warrant out for somebody's arrest and they were in a different country, and that country has to send them back, whatever that word.
Extradition.
Extradition. There you go, JD, with the big words. That's what I'm talking about. This is what they asked to extradite John? No, he's up in the north now. He do whatever he wants. I mean, it didn't make no sense. But she didn't want that, right? Because just like Danny, he is a threat to her throne too. So that's her little finger shit. She doesn't want him back. She wants him up there.
And that's my whole fuck Sansa point. She did not want a free John or John able to come back and take all.
She didn't want a fucking Targaryen in the kingdoms. Period.
She didn't want anybody but herself ruling is what she didn't want.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I don't think John really cared because you know what he's going to go do? He's going to go live free. He has no king. He's got nobody watching over him. He's free. And he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's good. And he's very, very comfortable with the fucking wildlings. Dude, John's going to live a better life than Sansa, Bran, anybody that's left in the kingdoms.
I don't know about that, but it still doesn't change the fact that basically I think Bran is agreeing to this. So John, because he knows John would have a better claim at being able to come back and take the Iron Throne. I mean, not that he would care, but he knows it. I mean, he knows everything. Sansa doesn't want him to be able to come back and take the North because he'd have a better claim. It's like they're basically burying him. Like, yeah, you just saved the world, but now you can go rot at the end of it because we don't want you taking our seats. I mean, what's up with that, fandom? Isn't that kind of sickening?
It is, but hell, John gets to live out his freaking life, as a wildling. It's great. But I got a question for you, DJ. During this whole scene, were you kind of upset because you brought that Tyrion on the throne Funko Pop for nothing? Because he didn't even end up on the throne.
He did not. I don't even know why they made the damn thing. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. How are you not going to put Lil T on the throne? But I'll ask you a question, fandom. Do you think when Edward got shut down and then he kind of gave that little, I suppose you want the throne to Tyrion, and they all looked at him, if Tyrion pushed, do you think he could have got the throne right then and there?
He probably wouldn't have, honestly. Because you would have had freaking Sansa say aye, and then eventually just asked Tyrion, oh, can I have the freaking North? He probably would have gave it to her, if anything. Regardless. Everyone probably would have said it, whatever.
Yeah. We got who said that? Analysis of Thrones said she helped save John's life. Grey Worm was ready to murder that man, but he hadn't yet, and that's the whole point. He was trying to do what was fair. He was trying to do what's right. John was still alive, just kept as his prisoner. He didn't want him to go free, but he didn't really want to kill him. He knew Dany was messed up deep down. Like I said, if he was really just all about rage and death, John would have already been dead. So I think something else except for total extinction could have been negotiated for the man who saved humanity. But nobody else wants him to come back and take him because they know he's basically the rightful king. I don't know. I didn't like that at all. But I guess Arya's right. Sansa really is the smartest person she knows.
I've been saying it all season. She's the smartest person on the whole Planetos.
Oh.
Here's a question for the chat. I called Sansa being queen, right? BBM doesn't think it counts, but queen.
No, because you said
No.
queen
I
of the seven
didn't
kingdoms.
say
Get out of
the Seven
here.
Kingdoms. I said queen. She's gonna be queen.
I called her being Queen of Winter of the North.
So I feel like I get at least 75% right on that. At least a 75% or 51. I'll take that because that's like not wrong.
Speaking of 51, we got Phoenix Rising 357 still thinks Bloodraven is in Bran. I'm 100% with you. I'm there. I agree. Bran made all those Funko Pops as a marketing scheme. You're probably right, BDZ. It was all Bran who did it.
But didn't Bloodraven give up his claim to the throne?
Yeah, basically, we're going to get there too. But basically, Jon's just going out to be the next Bloodraven. I mean, Bloodraven got sent on a bullshit thing. Bloodraven did what was best for the realm to help save the realm, and it worked. And then he got sent to the wall for it. He became Lord Commander, and then he basically told him to fuck off, and he went north. So, I mean, basically, Jon is following step for step in Bloodraven's fucking footsteps.
Yes, I just don't understand, like, why do the big... I mean, I guess that's Brand's story, too. Why do this big-ass loop just to end up in this one spot? So
Because, and George has said it perfectly, when it comes to this story, history always repeats itself. Always.
Right, but he didn't say that drop huge characters, make huge plot holes, and make ridiculous endings to great characters.
But that's the thing. This is D&D story. We still have George's story coming. The ending might be the same, but the way we get there is probably going to be a million times better.
Right. Fandom, our new king is sending you to the Night's Watch. First thing Jon says, there's still a Night's Watch. Tyrion says the world will always need a place for bastards and broken things. Why not just send them off to an island then? I mean, that just seemed like a ridiculous answer. Why is there still a Night's Watch, fandom?
Because the realm needs protecting, and once those cells get flooded in King's Landing or any other place, you need a place to send these prisoners. Night's Watch.
That's what I'm saying. Why not just send them to some remote island if that's the case? Why not send them off and let the butterflies kill them? Like, what's going to happen to them?
You guys completely missed that one, didn't you? Completely missed it. There is no Night's Watch. They sent him to the wildlings to go north of the wall and live out his life. There's no Night's Watch.
But didn't you see like two men of the Night's Watch really escort Jon
Those were northern
back?
men.
But they were dressed in black.
It doesn't
I like
matter.
that, JD. I didn't think of that at all.
It was a fucking ploy, dude, because the second those gates opened, did you ever see anybody else standing in black? No. Every single one of those people standing in that castle was a fucking wildling. It was a ploy to get Jon the fuck out of the kingdoms.
I think there is still a Night's Watch. Because if you think about it, the Night's Watch is formed just to be against the Night King, right? Or the Whites or whoever, White Walkers. That's the reason it's formed. But the people in current time don't believe in that shit. Yet they still send people to the north because there's wildlings. It's like they're a peacekeeping force almost up there. But someone called this a long time ago, or like a couple episodes ago, that there needed to be a place where people could regain their honor, or something that they feel people can do to feel bigger than themselves. And that's the real purpose of the Night's Watch. And that's kind of what Tyrion said. I was so amped about that when Tyrion said that. I'm like, oh my, I said that like 2 weeks ago. I'm super excited to bring this up in the freaking stream. I was so excited.
It's still a ploy. It was still a ploy to get Jon out of there.
Well, yeah, that's why I think the whole thing is like a moot point before about Jon becoming king. Why didn't they save him? Because that's where he really should be, is north of the wall. I think most of the people there actually knew that he wasn't going to be staying at the Night's Watch. That he brought the wildlings down. He's not going to go back up with the wildlings. Everybody that was in that situation knows that's what he's going to do. He's not going to become a Night's Watchman. I think that's probably what the show expects most people to think of that situation, that Sansa probably knew that that's what's going to happen to make her not look like such a bad person. But us who look more into her are like, yeah, she's kind of a shit person and she wants him gone too. So it's mutually beneficial for her and him. But yeah. I think there is a Night's Watch.
Red Witch says, yes, it can. But her point was Jon could be the best hope regardless of his sentence. If Bran and Sansa fail, they can ask him back because the council screwed up.
That's true. But here's the other thing. Jon didn't want to rule at all. That's why he always kept bending the knee to Dany. He didn't want to be king of the north. He didn't want to be king of the Seven Kingdoms. So you're right. It was a perfect mutual thing for both of them. Because Sansa, we know this for a fact, since she became queen when she was married to Joffrey till she became queen of North, she's always wanted to become a queen.
Yeah. Absolutely. You agree with all that, fandom?
Yeah, I'm starting to believe in what JD said, honestly, now. You convinced me. You convinced me.
Oh, if it had been Aegon that killed the Night King, would he still have gotten that sentence after saving mankind? I mean, Sansa said the Northmen had seen too much and fought too hard to ever kneel again, and Aegon's responsible for all of it, and still he got bastardized up to the wall. Did Jon not give up too much or fight hard enough for that little bitch? Fuck Sansa is what I wrote. Oh God, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know why she's fighting so much harder for the North, or saying that the Northmen did all this when Jon did everything, but yet Jon's the one who gets screwed. And yeah, somebody said in the chat that basically she saved Jon's life, but she didn't. She just exiled him. But I mean, JD's kind of crushing all this with there is no Night's Watch, and it was basically just a plot to let Jon go free in the North. But if that's the truth, that takes care of a lot of answers. That would be amazing.
I agree with JD, except there is the Night's Watch. Everything except I think there still is a Night's Watch.
Right on. Andy, Jon asked if what he did was right, and Tyrion says what we did. If it's what we did, then why is Jon the only one that gets sent off? It's like Tyrion. My point is like Tyrion seems like he's trying to clear his conscience a whole lot this season. Like, oh no, it was us, but only other people pay the consequence. Oh, it was us, Varys, but only you get burnt to a crisp. Oh, me and you killed Danny, Johnny, but only you are out. I mean, yeah, I get sentenced to be hand to the king, so I'm basically going to live here lavishly, like basically in royalty status. Yeah, that's so rough. Yeah, you got to listen to people bitch half the day, but come on.
Yeah, but I mean, different strokes to different folks. Like how Tyrion liked the game, right? The Game of Thrones. He liked playing the game before, but now he has this king over top of him that can actually see everything he does. And if he's trying to manipulate, it's not going to be fun like it was before. And I think it is a true punishment, having to face all the terrible things you did and then try to fix them. Like, imagine if you had to go back to every person you did something wrong to and just apologize to them, not even fix like what negative things happened because of that, but just apologize, acknowledging to that person, like, yeah, I kind of screwed you over. Like, that's not.
Yeah, but he's not going to be doing that. He's just going to be trying to fix things. He's not going on an apology tour. He's going on to fix everything that he ruined. And they're saying, like, Bran, the actor, came out that said that he really can't. Even in the episode, they basically said, confirmed that he can see in the future. Now they're backpedaling and saying he can't. It's like obscure. He can't really see into the future. It's muddled or something. I was like,
yeah, that's like Jojen can sort of see the future, but it's not like it has to be interpreted, just like Melisandre's visions in the flames and shit. It kind of has to be interpreted, like the way he's going over Winterfell and shit.
If Tyrion's good enough to manipulate and play the game, which we know that he is, then how is Bran ever going to stop him? I mean, just because he can kind of see bits and pieces, Tyrion will still be able to manipulate.
Because he doesn't have to be able to see the future. He can monitor everything. Like, there's no game with Bran. You can't play the game against Bran. Like, no. Tyrion wouldn't be able to play the game against Bran because Bran can actually go back to every conversation that Tyrion's had and watch them happen. If he's conspiring against Bran, Bran would be able to see that. So that's the thing. Like, information is the key to Game of Thrones, like the game, and Bran has all the information.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I back Andy 100% there, because when he gets, they're like, well, we've seen Drogon, and like always was flying east. He's like, well, I'm going to go check on him. He's checking his past tracks of where he was just at or where he was just headed. That's what he's doing. So yeah, Tyrion can't manipulate anybody because Bran's going to go, oh, dude, I seen you do this. Bronn can't fuck with the coin because Bran's going to be like, Bronn, really? He can see a minute into the past. Might not be able to see a minute in the future, but he can see a minute into the past. So nobody can pull anything over Bran's eyes. Nobody can manipulate him into making decisions he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, I like that. JD coming up with all the killers tonight. I like that. Little T puts his hand on Aegon as if to say goodbye. To me, it almost felt like, Aegon, you were going to leave me Oh, like he was like John was gonna leave him when John visited T in the cell and put his hand on him. It's like, sorry, it has to be this way. If T didn't talk real fast, I mean, John was gonna leave him there to die, and it almost seems like that's Tyrion's little revenge—not revenge, but Tyrion's little fuck you, like, ha, you're leaving me this way, now I'm leaving you this way. It almost seemed like payback. Like, I don't know, not just like a little dick move, kind of. Did anybody else get that at all?
No, I didn't get that way.
Just,
Even when you bring it up, it's like,
He did the same thing because John went over to Little T and put his hand on him. He's like, I'm sorry it has to be this way, like basically leaving him to die. And then Tyrion walked over to him and did the same thing, like, sorry it has to be this way, leaving you screwed, like you're exiled. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. We're Little Teen's leaving, John says, I don't expect we'll ever see each other again. Did John already know right then and there, JD, that he was heading to the true north? He wasn't going to just stop at the Night's Watch?
Yeah, I think so. I think because he really, I mean, yeah, he said that, and then when he, the whole thing with Arya, because Tyrion's like, well, being Hand of the King will always want you to piss off the edge of the earth. That, okay, whatever. But the whole thing with Arya when she's like, well, I'm not coming, I'm not going to be here. I'm headed west to Westeros. I think in his mind right then and there, if he has the chance, he's not going to stay. And when those doors opened, he had the chance and he was gone.
I like that too. So it wasn't really right away. It wasn't until Arya said, I'm going exploring, that he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Me too.
Yeah, I think so. Because he, that's the one sibling he loves with all his heart. That's the one that he's always been attached to, is Arya, because Arya was pretty much just an outcast like he was. And so they were like this growing up. And so when she's not going to come visit, what the fuck's the point in staying around anyway? Because, yeah, he could have stayed at Castle Black, rebuilt the fucking Night's Watch, the whole 9 yards. But when Arya's like, I'm out, and he's seen fucking Tormund and the Wildlings, he's like, I'm out too.
Nice. I was going to ask you who those two cats in black were, but you already told us. Those were Northmen just faked out like the Night's Watch. I love that.
He could have asked Tormund and the Wildlings to stay and recreated the Night's Watch. But you know what?
No.
His whole ploy was to get the fuck out of there and leave. That was a ploy.
Tormund was never staying nowhere. Tormund's got to roam, like you said.
Yeah, Tormund's a roamer, and that's what he's going to do forever. And now John and Ghost get to join him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's up, Andy? Are the Dothraki heading to Noth with the Unsullied? I mean, that doesn't seem like it's going to work out very well. And
I was hoping we were going to talk about this
because it really doesn't matter.
They're the true victims of this, of everything. They help this person gain the. It's not like the people of Westeros are going to like just allow the Dothraki to run and pillage the Six Kingdoms, right? So they don't get to do that. But then, what kind of legacy are you leaving to Missandei if you bring them over to Narth? Like, what? You're just gonna bring a bunch of people over there, gonna rape and pillage these people, these peaceful people? There's no win for the Dothraki, right? Because then they got to deal with the Unsullied that are going there to become the peacekeepers. Like, yeah, I was thinking that too, and. They do like to teleport, because you saw some people on the docks, like Dothraki walking towards the land, and then Grey Worm's like, yeah, they're like, everybody's on board. And I was like, well, maybe they just kind of teleported like they like to do. But then I thought, well, no, there's no way. Like, Grey Worm would know that you can't bring the Dothraki to this peaceful thing if you're going there to protect them.
Exactly.
I got a quick
David Adams out there saying the actual answer of what's west of Westeros, it's a round planet, then that's a shy. I like that. But what were you about to say, bud?
Like, when you kill a cow, don't you become the next cow?
Yes.
So isn't Jon Snow pretty much cow Jon Snow? Doesn't he control all of Dothraki?
Pretty much. Is he going to take them? Are you saying he's going to take them north? Because they'll freeze their asses off.
No, that's just like one question I wanted to know. Like, at this point, he pretty much could have had the Dothraki just kill all the Unsullied if they even come near him.
I mean, we saw the Dothraki walking down the dock, so don't we just have to figure that they're going to put them on a boat and send them back to Essos?
Yeah, but how about this? They're pretty shitty blood riders, right? I kind of agreed with BBM at first. I was like, oh, damn, they should be low to him. And then I thought, well, no, because the blood riders kill themselves when their cow dies. So if they were all her blood riders, then they should have all committed mass suicide. Like, where is the Kool-Aid, my boys? Like, you have a duty to your Khaleesi.
I love that.
Hey, DJ, I gotta get up.
All right, buddy. Thanks for being here, Dragon. We'll definitely be on with you again soon, and we'll talk at you.
Andy, bro, always fun to be on with you guys. Chat. We'll catch you all later. Peace.
Take it
easy. Oh yeah, it's the finale. We're going a little bit longer tonight. We got a cameo out there saying, if Arya finds there's nothing west of Westeros, I wonder which way she'll go. Which way will she go, George? Which way will she go? Oh, she's gonna find it out, and I don't know. Will Arya end up in a Shy? That'd be a cool little extra series. Arya in a Shy, that would be dope. Is Grey Worm taking Missandei's body to Noth? He's going to die with her and the butterflies. And yeah, I mean, basically everybody that reads the books already knows that if you're not from Noth, you can't hang in Noth because them butterflies will get you. So basically the Unsullied are just going to die, aren't they, fandom?
No, because the show doesn't mention these damn butterflies. Like, it was like, what, a few weeks ago or so where someone mentioned these butterfly things. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't recall hearing shit before. So he can pretty much just go there and be chilling.
So there's no deadly butterflies in Noth. They don't have nothing to worry about with that?
In the show verse. So if in the books he ends up saying, oh, I'm going to go to Nar, he dead.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it was crazy when not seeing any Dothraki in the boat. But like I said, we did see him walking down the dock, so that's crazy. Because yeah, I mean, if there's $100,000 or if there's 100,000 horse lords out there and only half of them died, we have 50,000 homeless horse lords. Like, that's kind of a big deal. It's like, what are they going to do with the Dothraki? That's crazy.
Just keep sending them around and killing them. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's a homemade army, 50,000 deep, but how are you going to get, trying to get them to follow you is a whole nother thing, unless you got a dragon to keep them in line. And, of course, the biggest one, why would anybody stick to the deal as soon as the Unsullied hit the seas? It'd be like, coast is clear, you're all good, John Boy, but JD already answered that. He's going north, and he was never going there, so that's what it is. As soon as Sansa opened her mouth saying, I wish there'd been another way, I literally wanted a Kraken to jump out of the water and just swallow her whole, dude. I was like, I was so sick. But I was so glad when she asked, can you ever forgive me? And John didn't say a thing. And I was so afraid he was going to be like, oh, there's nothing to forgive. I was like, oh, yes, there is. And he didn't say a thing. He didn't say he forgave her. All he actually said was, basically all he said was the North has you to speak for them. That's the best they could act for. It's like, yeah, fuck the North too. That is the best they could ask for. I kind of love that. What do you think about all that, Andy?
Well, as you guys were talking, I kind of like the thing where John was like the last person to know that he wasn't going to stay at the wall. Like, he didn't realize it until Arya was like, yeah, I'm going to go do this thing. Everybody else already knew that he was going to go become a wildling, but he knows nothing. Like, he was the last person to realize that he was going to go become a wildling. So, I think there honestly isn't anything to forgive because that's the best life for him. That's the best outcome for him. He doesn't want to rule. He would rather be a wildling. Like Tormund said, you already have the North and you're wolves up there, and we know what happens to the wolves happens to the people, right? Like, Sansa's wolf dies, she becomes a queen. Her lady, she's lady. She's no longer a lady. She's a queen. And, I didn't feel like she, I've been on Sansa's side the whole time, right? I mean, facetiously, but so I don't expect that. Like, I don't expect to have to, I expect that they're building her up. So, it wasn't a shock to me.
Was it a shock to see Arya shed that tear, letting us know that she's kind of somewhat back to normal and kind of a normal human being with feelings again?
Yeah, I was happy about that. Like, yeah, they didn't make her like go with Gendry, which is fine. Like, you don't have to like go all the way down. But I just like in the end that she didn't become like a crazy killer. Like, the Hound, it went from like this dark revenge story, right, to her looking into the future, right? Becoming an explorer, it's like adventure, right? You want to go adventure rather than consumed by revenge. So I kind of like that she, she did her thing. She did grow as a character. and she is human again by crying. You get that humanity.
Wasn't she emotional back in season 7 when she heard? Was it season 7? Yeah, when she heard that freaking Jon Snow was, took Winterfell from the Boltons. So even before then, it seems like she was kind of like heading down the path of like non-revenge. But then after the whole long night, she was like, "Okay, I gotta go kill Cersei."
Well, I think that more had to do with, remember the Red Wedding? Like, she was almost there. A little sooner, had she gotten there, she would have been with her brother. So you have to consider that like she postponed her revenge. Like, Cersei's still gonna be there, but Jon might not be. So that's that turning around point. I don't know that she's too much emotion in that though.
So she honestly, when they were going to King's Landing, she could have just killed Cersei in season 7. Like, she could have really just hitched a ride, where her faces men skills, hid, boom, killed Cersei.
But that's the whole point. She turned around and she went back to see her family instead of her kill list. Like, that was the whole point of her changing her arc. Like, she's no longer an assassin. She's Arya Stark, and she's going home to Winterfell. And if she wouldn't, and if she would have switched and just said, nope, I'm sticking to my kill list, then she would have been totally lost and just been nothing but an assassin with no feelings. We got Celador out there. John was like, I have been afraid of women because I never knew my mom. I kissed my aunt. Like, whatever, Sansa. Your inability to keep a secret is nothing compared to the shocking Maury results recently. I love that part. RH crying for John. Absolutely, Linda R. Sam Florida, why didn't the wildlings take the key? I think he means the gift. Those lands near the wall, still in the north. They were already promised that area. And Based says wildlings should be free to go anywhere. The debt the kingdom owes the wildlings is bigger than that of the Unsullied. I don't know if bigger, but exactly the same. Absolutely. So yeah, the gift was already promised, and if they want to be on that side of the wall, they should darn right be able to. And with all the Northmen that are dead, I'm sure there's plenty of other room up there for them too. What do you think about all that, Andy?
I think the debt is bigger to the wildlings because you have to consider that the Seven Kingdoms has been periodically sending soldiers to systematically destroy the wildlings. Like, for a long time, they've been trying, like, essentially, like, to start a genocide against the wildlings. Yet the wildlings come down and help the Northerners. They could have just kept going south and avoided that whole shit, but they didn't. So they fought with the people of the Seven Kingdoms. So it's not, that wasn't happening to the Unsullied. So I think it is bigger, but maybe they can still access the gift, right? Like, okay, if some crazy shit goes down, they can still come south of the wall, get that protection, and they have the gift if necessary.
Nice. What's good? I see we got Mo Castillo just hit the chat. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you out here. We got it was cool seeing Brienne. We got to go to our number one Lannister lover for this one. Fandom. It was cool seeing Brienne reading the White Book. And then when we see her, she's on Duncan the Tall's page, which was a great connection. But for anybody that was actually looking that close at the details, and then to see that the very next page was Sir Arthur Dayne, I was like, come on. That was a little irritating. It's like also the details of when and where he got knighted were all messed up, but we don't even got to get into that. But it's like there would have been so many different Kingsguard in there. It's like if they're going to go through the details of making that connection with, Sir Arthur or Duncan the Tall and Brienne, it's like, why not do it right? Have a couple of pages in there. That irritated the shit out of me. But what do you think about that when she was actually like put honor ahead of everything and wrote the good stuff about Jaime in the White Book fandom?
I think they really didn't do the Brienne and Duncan at all because not many casuals know that she is a descendant of Duncan at all. So just having that there, it would have been like, wait, what? Who the hell is Duncan at all? And then they probably would have to read, and so, but not every casual wants to go read and look up stuff. But yeah, just seeing how she was able. The moment I saw with the book, I'm like, yes, turn to Jaime's page and do him right. Even though he kind of did you wrong by leaving going to Cersei, but don't be that petty. Forgive and forget. Forgive and forget. And she was like writing the stuff down. I was like, yes. Yes, man. Yes. But on that note, I really have to go because my brother has been like, hollering me. I'm supposed to pretty much help him like go back to his house and help him out. But he's been deciphered this whole time. That's why I have my profile picture like, up and about. But thanks again for having me, DJ and Andy. I've been on the fence, throughout this entire series. But you know what? I'm glad when it's all said and done, we got to talk about this. And people in live chat, thanks to talk to you guys too. I'm out.
Be easy, BBM. Thanks for stewing through. Thanks for being there. Definitely, you guys haven't seen it out there. If you watch TV at all, Fandom D Saint absolutely does a review of it. So make sure you get over to his channel, give him a sub, and check it out because he is the best in the business when it comes to reactions in TV. Faux show. But back to it. What do you think about all that, Andy, with Brienne actually putting honor over everything and actually giving the golden eulogy to Jaime in the big book?
I saw something someone put in there like, yeah, she wrote all this like honorable stuff in there, but then in the very end she like lied and said that he went back to King's Landing to save the people.
No, he said to save the queen.
No, he died in the arms of his queen.
Right.
But he went down there to fight for the people or something. I forget what it said exactly. I saw someone put it up, and I was like, oh well. You know, it's just she loved him, so she's a little biased. But
she tainted it.
So but that was nice of her. Like, she's not a crazy ex-girlfriend, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
She had the power to like kill his legacy, and she didn't do that.
Honor above all. It was also said in that book that it said presumably that Arthur Dayne was presumably killed by Ned Stark, and I was like, these are the two of the major names in the kingdom. Like, this seems like a fact people would know. Like, it wouldn't just be presumably. Like, wouldn't that be in there?
Yeah, well, maybe. It depends. Like, if Ned was really, if he was going to tell the story, he would say that Howland Reed actually killed him. He would say, because he would give him that credit. But then, just like Brienne would lie about who Jaime was protecting, or like what he was going down there to do, like, they're not going to give the credit to Howland Reed. They're going to give the credit to someone we already know is a pretty good swordman in Ned. Even if Ned said, no, it wasn't me. Like, he, in the White Book, he's going to get the credit because that is a better story than, Howland Reed killing him. And, I don't know.
I just thought that was weird. It seems like they would have that kind of thing maybe put down, but I don't know. Maybe it's more stories than facts in there, trying to keep them all like with golden legends. I got the call back when Tyrion and Cersei were moving around the small council chairs around, but I didn't get like him neatening up the chairs or what that image was, or why did he care so much, like where the chairs were placed, and when like Bronn moved his chair back all rough and sat in it, like Tyrion looked so irritated. I didn't get the callback or what they were trying to get with that. Did you?
Yeah, I think it had to do with like, he was kind of becoming like his dad. Like, he grew, right? Like, he was disrespecting his dad when he came to the council, and he drugged that chair all around. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was, annoying Tywin. And now he is more professional than all the people around him. Right, and they're just like the ones screwing up the chairs. But that whole scene, like, as it was going on, I was like, is this really necessary? Like, why are we spending so much time on this scene of him straightening chairs out?
Kind of my point. Like, what was the big, like, was there a bigger payoff that I missed, or what is kind of what you're saying here?
Yeah, it's just that I think that Tywin was particular about the chairs, and then now he becomes the one that's particular, and he kind of gets a little of what his dad went through, like with Tyrion. Like, he gets that punishment because now the council is full of idiots.
Yeah, now it's flipped around. Did you notice what's on the new Kingsguard plate?
Is it a raven or something?
Three-eyed raven, baby, on the new Kingsguard on metal armor. That was pretty tight. You have to look tight because they do not give you a clean shot of it. But if you look, it's a three-eyed raven on the new Kingsguard plate. I was like, all right, that's clean. But why would you go through all that detail and then not show it off more prominent? Like, man, some of these decisions just, I don't get them. We're just about to get to that, Sam, so let's bring it out. Sam Florida says, why was Sam the Grand Maester? It takes like 20 years. And also, Podrick is not good enough to be on the King's Guard. And why do they need a Maester of Whispers? They need a Maester of Whispers because they're about to run a city. Podrick is absolutely good enough to be on the King's Guard. He's been training with Brienne for basically years while this is going on. And that's why I think we saw him up north when he was whooping the shit out of those people he's sparring with. Like, nobody can hang with him. Like, he's learned from the best, and Pod is absolutely good enough to be in the King's Guard. And yes, Based, he is now no longer Pod the Rod. He is Pod the Pusher. Absolutely. But, yeah, I do think that. But, yeah, his first part, he's absolutely correct. How the hell is Sam an Archmaester? Not an Archmaester, but a Maester already. I was just like, come on. He can't be a Maester, yes, but a Grain Maester? No.
Yeah, I think that's just like some nepotism. Like, you're friends with the king, like.
But you have to forge a certain amount of chains and have a certain amount of knowledge to be a Grain Maester, and there's no way in hell, I don't care how smart he is, for him to have the time to have done that.
Yeah, well, when I was a little kid, the coach's son was the pitcher on our baseball team, and he could only throw the ball like 30 miles an hour, and every pitch was a ball. But that didn't matter. So, sometimes it doesn't matter when, you're friends with the person in charge.
What'd you think about the name of the book that Sam brought in? I was like, I think it should have been called like Game of Thrones or even The War of the Five Kings, but calling it The Song of Ice and Fire, I think, is almost a slap in the face compared to how this got brought it, how it got done.
Well, we kind of figured. You remember when that came out? I'm pretty
Right.
sure like 80% of the people said, "Oh, that's what's going to happen."
Right.
This is this story of what happens after the rebellion, all that. So I thought, well, whatever. I kind of figured that was going to happen, but I didn't know it was going to be his book. I thought maybe it was Sam would write the book, but
yeah, I thought that's how this whole thing was going to end, was with Sam writing this all down. So that was kind of a shock. And then Braun, I think it was funny how, like, when Tyrion was so irritated, like, he wasn't mentioned in the book, and then Braun was getting such a kick out of it, kind of like when Braun was with the horrors, and he, like, they kept talking about all the dragon stuff, and he's like, I'm the only man that brought down a dragon, and, like, they just kept ignoring him, like it was nothing, and he was, like, feeling Tyrion's pain about being ignored in that situation. I did kind of like that tie-up.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Although, like, how do you explain that's why you can't trust the history books, right? How do you explain, like, the Blackwater, Braun of the Blackwater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without Tyrion in the story at all? Because how does he get there? How does he all of a sudden become this person of prevalence, right? Like, how does Braun get a castle? Like, it seems like all this would have to be explained in this book. How do you do it without Tyrion?
It's like they just gave it up after the Tyrells, and just, after that, the book was already finished, so he just didn't have an answer for that, I guess. Seems kind of ridiculous. R plus L equals J started Robert's Rebellion. R plus L equals J is the information that leads to Dany's assassination. Bran is on it. Yeah, they left a few things that went absolutely nowhere and crushed a lot of dreams. I like how much Braun, it was despicable. How despicable was it seeing Braun on the small council with so many new titles? Lord Braun of the Blackwater, Lord of Highgarden, and Lord Paramount of the Reach. Oh, yeah, and Master of Coin. Are you kidding me? Does this ever happen even in a fantasy land?
Yeah, I had a problem with that. I'm like, why? Okay, give him what you said you were going to give him, fine. Like, if that's what you're going to do, if he can run that, fine. But why make him Master of Coin? That doesn't make any sense.
The whole thing's ridiculous. We already know Highgarden is the #1 producing castle in the entire Westeros. It's already the biggest moneymaker that there is, period. And then we already know that Master of Coin is lowly. That's why Littlefinger did it. That's why they threw Tyrion in to do it. Like, that's a nothing title. So those two things would never interact in the first place, and just giving them those two things, I mean, everything about it was just wrong.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was definitely a weird situation. I thought that's kind of more fan servicey stuff, or like, just to put him on that council so you can have that silly scene where previously it was like the council was like the smart people running the kingdom for an idiot, and now it's like you have this smart person for a king with a council full of idiots.
Yeah,
Not really
exactly.
idiots, but unqualified people.
Yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. And then we already talked about how ridiculous it is for Sam being the Grand Maester. I just couldn't even get over that. And of course, the nerve of them to bring back up the honeycomb joke and not finish it just killed me. But
Sons
John,
of bitches.
oh yeah, that was a slap to the face. John shows back up at Castle Black with the longest face ever. I kind of thought like when they opened the gate, he was looking all sad. Then all of a sudden they'd open the gate and it'd be like a big wildling party, like a big surprise party. Like it's a new day at the watch, bitches, and they're just all kicking it, drinking and shit. That would have been so dope. But no.
I like him ending up back there and going north of the wall because it's like a hero's journey, except like it doesn't start at the beginning, because like an important part of a hero's journey is like getting back to where you started, but his journey it like starts from the point he at the wall. So he did his cycle, his journey there. So I thought that was kind of cool. So the story really is about John in the end killing Danny, and so it's kind of an interesting take on the hero's journey. So I thought that was all right.
What'd you think about that end montage with John, Arya, and Sansa mixing it up in and out?
It was I mean, we like the Starks, or I do at least. I like the Starks. I want to see what happens. You get Queen Sansa, so I was right about that. 51%. And
nope, they called it in the chat. You don't get credit for that one.
Pete said I get credit. Scrub can suck it.
When John finally went over to pet Ghost, I kind of wish he would have went like house cat on him and just stuck his nose in the air and turned and walked away like, fuck you. Now you want to pet somebody?
Yeah, how did they get like the nudging, the dragon nudging so good, but you could still tell that he was not touching the actual how. I don't know how CGI works, but I would CGI the shit out of that thing and make it at least look like he was actually touching the dog. It was weird. It was weird to me. I'm like, man, how do they make the touching the dragon so realistic? But I don't know. And then I thought you could have done that twice. You could have kind of changed up the scene just a little bit. Yeah. Bummer.
We got Mo Castillo asking, did you see a third twist? Why did they keep treating John like a bastard? We kind of went over that before because they want him gone and basically want him gone because he's got the best claim. If he ever decided to come back, he could get the lords on his side and reclaim the throne, or the King of the North, either one. So Sansa and Bran both want him gone. So I would say that is basically what happened with that situation, if that's what you're asking. It was cool to see so many of us called Arya going west of Westeros. That was pretty tight. When they showed Sansa getting crowd and the candles on both sides, I was literally hoping one of them would just catch her hair on fire. I was like, then she could be the bald bitch queen of the North. Oh yeah, I was just hating on Sansa this whole thing. She was driving me nuts. I was like, you did all that and you couldn't save John better than that. But then JD kind of saved it all with his little thing. Like JD crushed it with that one, saying that this was a plot the whole time because they knew there was no Night's Watch. I love that.
Yes, I think there is a Night's Watch. I'm going with that. But I think everybody that knows John personally knew that he was going to end up north of the wall. He wasn't going to be Night's Watch. And that's kind of a perfect plan, really, because the Unsullied wouldn't know that. They wouldn't know about all the politics of the North and how John united them and how big of a thing that is and how much time he spent beyond the wall. They wouldn't know that. So if that was truly your plan to like, hey, let's let him north of the wall, like give him this opportunity, that's a perfect way of using the knowledge you have and someone else doesn't smartly. And it was probably all Sansa's idea because we know that she's the smartest person on Planetos.
Oh my God. We see John and the wildlings heading north of the wall, and we see a blade of grass to show the warming of the seasons. Is winter over, Andy?
Do what?
I said we saw John and the wildlings heading north, and they panned down. The first thing we saw was the blade of grass. Is that them showing that winter is over?
Yeah. Well, didn't they say in the other episode that they were going to go to the wall and wait for winter, like the winter to kind of pass over, chill out, and then they'll go north?
Yeah. And you're probably right. There probably is a Night's Watch, because who closed the gate behind them when they walked out?
Yeah. Now I was gonna say that before, but I went off on a tangent. You know how I forget things when I do that.
Oh, it's easy. So is everybody on the same page that John's pretty much going out to become king of Beyond the Wall?
I don't think he wants to be a king. Like, that's the thing. Tormund said that John's not a king, and the north of the wall is the only place where he's not going to be a king, right? So if he,
and I think, isn't the whole point of this story that it doesn't matter what you want? Power resides where men believes it resides.
Yeah, but you're not, like, he's not a king. They're free. They don't need a king anymore. But he doesn't want the power, right? Anywhere he goes aside from north of the wall, he's in charge, king or not. Like, if he stays in the Night's Watch, he's going to be the Lord Commander. If he stays in the north, he's going to be king in the north. If he stays in the south, he's going to be king in the south. The only place he can get away from that is north of the wall. And so I think that's the point. That's the only place he can't be king.
Huh. OTDA says he'll be an elder and all that, but he won't be a king. Mo says he's tired of fighting. Absolutely. Timo says, but the North has been proven to be very feeble. They proclaim every Stark king or queen in the North. Apparently they aren't loyal. Yeah, there are some fickle bastards in the North, no doubt about it. Base says Cameo Scrubs is my own. I changed it a while back. 100% he's not going to be a king. I don't know about 100% OTDA. I think, like I said, I think the whole point of this is it doesn't matter what he wants. Power resides where men believes it resides, and they all are looking at John like he's a king. And that's what, just like Tormund said, he's like, what kind of man does that, a madman or a king? Like, they're already ready to make him king. So I do think that he ends up becoming king beyond the wall. But we'll never know. Or maybe we will when the books come out. Oh, so overall, we know that Tormund's about to have some fun because it looked like most of the wildling women are left are women and children, but sadly it looks like he'll never have his great big fuckers to rule the world with Brienne. What are your overall thoughts about the show and season, Andy?
That's sad. Like, why couldn't he just hang out with Brienne? Brienne should have went north. But do you ask, like, how do I feel about the show and season? The whole thing?
This episode, this season, and yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, I like this episode because more than anything, I like being right. So that takes precedent over everything else. I also like it had some good scenes in it, which like some captivating ones where, like, I liked Crazy Danny, like where she didn't realize like how crazy she was, like to think that she could justify to that somebody like John, right? And like how she was talking. So I like that because crazy people don't know they're crazy. And then, you do get satisfying endings ish. I like that Sansa's so smart that she gets to be queen in the North. And I liked it more. This was my second favorite episode of the season.
Really? There you go.
Yeah. There you go. First favorite being episode 2.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard anybody say that episode 2 wasn't their favorite. And it's so weird because there's really no crazy CGI, there's no big battles, there's no like crazy things going on, and yet that's everybody's favorite. So I mean, that just shows how bad it was that the writers just went to dumb everything down and make it such a visual expose. I mean, it was great to watch, but man, if they could have just put a little more thought into that writing and just stuck the landing a little bit better. Yeah. What's up, chat? Is there anybody out there that doesn't think episode 2 is the best one? Let us know. What were you about to say, Andy?
Yeah, I keep hearing people say the argument like, most of my friends and family don't know like how into Game of Thrones I am, but I'll see on my Facebook people defending like the season, like, oh, Arya trained all this time. She should have killed the Night. Like, of course she's powerful enough to kill the Night King. And I never say it, but I always want to say, well, yeah, but, it doesn't make sense in a story perspective. The great comet, the red comet, could crash down on the Night King and kill him too. It would have enough power to do that. But how that's not beneficial to the story. It doesn't tell a good story. It's just some shit that happened. If it's just some shit that happened, it's not like a story.
But we got taken on that whole arc. Like the comet just got talked about, like, hey, there's a red rock floating through the sky. We got taken through Arya's whole story. I mean, from Serial Pharrell saying that you're not a boy or a girl, you're a sword, to her going and training blind with the waif across in a different world. Like, from start to finish, she was trained to be the one who could be strong enough to take out this end-all. So I think it fit perfectly in the story. That's why I made a video about it.
Yeah, but she's strong enough, right? She's strong enough to do it. Just like the comet is strong enough to do it. And to say it's just some comet in the sky, that's not true. The comet means a bunch of things to a bunch of people. That it has significance and it gets talked about, right? It has the power. It could do it.
Does it, or are they just saying that? A lot of people say that, but is it magical?
Yeah, what I'm saying is a comet smashing into the planet, yes, it has enough power to kill the Night King. I think if a little sword or if a dagger does,
no, of course,
a red comet can't. What I'm saying is there's no story to that. Like the story, there's no importance to it, right? There's no reason that what's the importance of Arya? What significance does she have to the Night King's story to make it justified for her to be the one to kill him? Just like what significance does the comet have to the Night King to justify it smashing into the earth and destroying him as well?
Well, like I said, I don't think it. I mean, I think it's Apple. Of course, it could kill it, but it was never talked about. We didn't follow the comet. We didn't see its arc. We didn't see it changing. We didn't see it flying. I mean, we just saw it in the sky. That was it. Arya, we have been there every step of the way for her. And when it came down to, are you going to be a faceless man? She said, no, I'm Arya Stark, and I'm going home to Winter. Or I'm Arya Stark of Winterfell, and I'm going home. Like it does. It showed her whole arc. It showed how she would be strong enough to be able to handle a situation like this. And of course she has enough vested in it. Because if she doesn't kill him and the Night Kings win, she's human and she dies. So that alone is enough being vested. Plus it's up in the north and she's a Stark. Her whole family is in charge of the north. So just in that alone, she's going to feel like she needs to do something about it. So I think absolutely there was enough talked about, and we followed her arc and story enough that I think it was totally plausible for her to kill the Night King. Why not?
Yeah, but what's the significance of the story? If she's able to do that, the one like I don't understand.
Because she made the choice to come there. What if she didn't?
It makes the Night King insignificant. Is what I'm saying, because there's no story. There's no story around it. Like there's a way to write a story. We could talk about like things happening where someone is strong enough to do something and they come and do it. But why put a big focus on this character if a MacGuffin's going to come in and take it out? Like there's no purpose to that story anymore.
I guess I don't understand. What would be the difference then if Jon was the one that killed him?
Because Jon has significance with the North, like the real North, right? So he has been up there. He's seen what the Night King does. He's seen the effects it has on people. He saw it brought all the wildlings together, this great threat. And then he saw them at Hardhome. And then, he was there trapped north of the wall. So he has like the most vested interest.
So you just think it should have been a revenge kill is the way you're saying it. Like
no,
a revenge kill for Jon to be able to get him back? Because I'm still not getting it.
He should have done something. I just don't think that ending it that way is the best option. You know what I mean? Like, just because someone can do something, it thematically doesn't mean they should do it, right? Because if it doesn't make sense thematically, then there's no point to the story. Otherwise, you could say every single story is an awesome story because you don't believe in like thematic, right? Like that a story should have a certain thing. So you could someone could just blurt out a bunch of random events and it's just as valid of a story as A Song of Ice and Fire. Does that make that's my criticism of it. I don't think that she couldn't do it. I just think it hurts the story that she doesn't have as much vested in that part of the story.
We got David H saying Lightbringer is what ends the darkness. Arya is Lightbringer. Jon is Azor Ahai. Come again. The Night King wasn't ready to fight Jon. He knew he'd catch that fade. Jenny Coldstone says they took all of Jon's significance out of the story, and that's in his season downfall in a nutshell. Yeah, basically. George R. R. Martin, Sam says said if all your clue points in something, then you change the story makes no sense. D&D, it just didn't feel right for us in the moment, so Arya killed the Night King is bad. Phoenix, the Night King saw him kill his general. Why would he go 1v1 with a dude that has a sword to kill him? Yeah, the whole fact of the Night King, I mean, Jamie said, why would he ever bring himself out if that's the truth? Why not just wait for his forces to kill everybody and then walk up to Bran? So, yeah, that whole thing didn't make sense. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt. I had somebody talking earlier to me today, you know, kind of going off about it, and I was like, I guess I'm just one of the lucky ones. I was able to diverge, you know, way back in season 4. Like, hey, this is 2 totally different stories. I'll wait for the actual books to come out to give me, you know, all the evidence, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the show for the thematic views that it gives me. I mean, it's awesome watching dragons rip across the sky and all the fights and battles. I mean, it works for me. What character were you the most bummed about not seeing in season 8, Andy?
Do what?
What character were you the most bummed about not seeing in season 8?
I didn't care. Wasn't bummed about not seeing anybody, honestly.
Really? I was kind of hoping.
I guess like Helen Reed, I was hoping for that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, how do they not bring Helen Reed into something? Or I thought, I guess that would be probably most people's biggest one, but I was really hoping they were going to do something with Helen Reed. And I really thought that Wolfpack was going to come back and make an appearance. It's like, Wolfpack was just, why even bring it up? Just showing that that's what Nymeria is doing these days? Just out there chilling? That was kind of a bummer. It's like, you got all this money for CGI, so the Wolfpack coming in and tearing somebody up. Was Podrick becoming a Kingsguard a big enough payoff for all the time they spent showing us his training?
Yeah, I think you made him like Kingsguard are supposed to be really good knights, right? Like really skilled. You're protecting the king, so yeah, I think that's a good payoff that he would end up there as like one of the top knights in the whole kingdom.
I just thought with all that time that they showed her training, I really thought he was going to kill somebody major and like it was going to be a thing. And like we think somebody's going down, but Pod the Rod comes up because of all this training and saves the day. But nah. I guess we were just showing that he was doing all that training to become good enough to become a Kingsguard, I guess. Was Ned also a Greenseer? Like he knew Aegon's story would end like this, basically, like it would all be for nothing. So screw it. Why not just send him to the Night's Watch?
No, I don't think that. I think he's too like rigid, even though he like believes in the North and the old gods and stuff. I think he would be like kind of like Jon in the book, where he tries to like he pushes down his warging abilities. Like, you know what I'm talking about? He like tries to not make it happen and stuff, like Jon does in the books. Well, even if Ned was a Greenseer, he would suppress that. Suppress is the word I was talking about. Or that I was trying to think of.
He was trying to keep it down. Do you think you don't think Ned ever had a direwolf or anything like that? Because I mean, obviously, when they found it, they said there hasn't been a direwolf down here for thousands of years. But Ned just always had this weird look, like either he'd seen a direwolf or had I don't know. But I always thought something was going to come to with that one, and nope, nothing.
Well, you can always hope in the book.
Yeah, exactly. What was the biggest storyline that you hoped they'd finish or give you an answer to that they didn't?
The joke. I like jokes.
You want to know the answer to that joke? Mine was, I can't believe they never told us about what freaking Varys heard in the flames. How do you not answer?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That irritated the crap out of me. It's like you brought up so many cool things. Well, that's a problem. They didn't bring it up. George brought it up. They didn't know the answer, so they couldn't answer it. That is truly irritating.
You know, to be fair, like I wanted to hear the joke, but it does fit along George R.R. Martin's themes. Remember when he said, I think I brought this up before, he said, if you want to explain to your reader that you have the best singer in the world or the best poet in the world, the number one thing you can't do is read any of his poetry, because George R.R. Martin realizes that George R.R. Martin's not the best poet in the world. So how could he call a character in his story the best poet in the world if George R.R. Martin writes shitty poetry for that character to say was his? right? So maybe Tyrion's joke is funny. It's supposed to be like this super funny joke, but it doesn't get written in because they don't know how to make it funny, but they just want you to know that he has this great joke, and the best way to show that is by not telling you the great joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yours, like, I'm kind of depressed about not hearing what was in the flames.
Oh, it was ridiculous. That was one of the biggest things. It was a huge thing. And just not, I mean, obviously they're going to have to say it in the books, but to not even come up with anything, I mean, you fan service the hell out of all this other stuff. You couldn't get that one out. I was like, come on, man. It is. I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm one of the lucky ones. Way back in season 4, I just totally diverged. I was like, the books are the books. While I'm watching the show, I'll just turn off all logic and just, this is the story they want to tell me. And I was like, this is their story. It's not the Song of Ice and Fire. It's not George's story, but this is their story. So sit back, shut up, and be entertained. And for the most part, I really was. Like, there was a couple of things that got dropped and a couple of things that made no sense and a bunch of things that they made like a really big thing out of and then just nothing. And
I feel like I could have – this is probably just a product of how I am with me giving up on shows and stuff all the time. I feel like someone could have told me the end of it like 2 seasons ago, and I would have never watched another episode. I would be like, all right, cool. Like, just tell me the very end. Just explain this last episode to me. I would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then never watched it again.
Yeah. And I don't care. Like, hey, I was happy to get 2 different stories. I was like, the books are the books. The shows will be the show. Just enjoy them both for what they are. But it's just, you can't bring up so many major plot points or major story points and then just not finish them off. Just, oh yeah, there's this. And I mean, it's fun before the end. It's fun for us to like try to come up with what it is and try to make up our own answers. But at some point, we need the answers. Like, you got to tell us something. Nah, not so much. And I got to say, for this exact episode, it almost didn't feel like I was watching Game of Thrones. It almost felt like a completely different series. Just, I don't know if it was just being in different places or, I mean, the actors seemed different. The stages seemed different. It's like, other than my dragons, it just didn't even almost feel like a Game of Thrones episode. It was kind of weird that way for me.
Oh, I forgot to mention this before. Was Tyrion's trial a trial of him, or did they bring him there to have a vote? I didn't understand like the purpose. Why are they basically, I don't know, like consulting him on his opinion? He's the prisoner. What are you talking? I thought he was on trial here.
He's still super smart and knows more than most people about the realm. I mean, he's been in the game. He's been in small councils. He's been helping kings. Like, he is the best person to be there. And Sansa told him, bring him out. Like Sansa said, used to be the smartest person I know. So, I mean, they needed him there. I mean, they were getting ready to make some major decisions. They needed him out there. And Bran probably told them to get Tyrion out there because Bran knew they needed Tyrion to get to the place to make him king.
I was like, is this like a trial or something? I don't understand what's going on here. Like, why isn't he sitting in one of those chairs? Because he was getting treated better than all the people in the chairs. Like, he would. What do you think we should do? Yeah, I'm gonna pick the person who's most likely to let me out of prison. That's what if you're asking me. Like, I'm going to say whatever I need to say. And he saw Bran. He's like, oh, yeah, Bran's pretty cool. We had that chat by the fire. Like, let me say him because he might let me out.
Maybe the one person that actually care about me, maybe. I mean, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if Yara had his chance whatsoever. But that was the first thing that Sansa said. Like, you were told to bring Jon and Tyrion out. And he's like, they're our prisoners. We'll do what we want with them. So it's like, it was Sansa who said, bring him out because we need to discuss some shit. So that's why he got brought out. It wasn't his trial. They just wanted to hear his input. He was part of that, basically that small, great council. Base says Tyrion played well by picking the guy who liked him. Absolutely. Like you just said, you're going to pick the guy that's going to let you off. It was a parlay in which they were negotiating peace. Exactly, David. The meeting was to deal with the prisoners, but they didn't bring Jon. They were like, yeah, because they weren't going to let Jon go free regardless of what these people said.
I just saw people calling it a trial, and I was like, what? What is going on? Did I miss something? It didn't make sense to me. But I am kind of an idiot.
Tyrion was brought because the council wanted him to participate, not to do with the trial. I didn't like it at all knowing person anyway. Yeah, exactly. Didn't like it as an all-knowing person anyway. Absolutely, absolutely. Tyrion must not have wanted Sansa to be queen. How can you say that, Jenny? I think Sansa did everything in her power to be queen. Yeah, I don't know. God, would Sansa have made a better queen than Bran, Andy?
No. I mean, well, it's kind of that depends. Because remember how, like, before I would say that Melisandre, she was okay with killing Shireen because she had lived so long. She realized, like, the greater good is, like, that's why it was okay to do that, because the realm needed, the world needed this to happen. And she'd probably experienced so much death in her life that it didn't matter as much to her. Well, shit, imagine how much death fucking Bran's been through. Now he's the history of the realm. So maybe he's going to be just as cold to that shit, and that's why he let all the shit happen at King's Landing. But then you have Sansa, who's just like a mini Cersei, so mixed with a little Littlefinger. So both of them are probably bad options, but I think they were trying to say, like, Bran, you know, he can learn the best from history, so or that maybe the Tyrion would be a good ruler if he had all the knowledge that ever existed. So there's that. Like, he can make the best decision based on that.
Absolutely. I guess so. So what are you excited to go back and do a rewatch and see it now that you know how this all ends and kind of watch it knowing how it ends, or is it more like, I can't believe it ended that way, I'm done?
My big problem with it is like they said that 3 years ago they knew how that Arya was going to kill the Night King. Well, that was only a season and a half ago, or a season ago, right? Like, that's not the beginning of season 6. So I don't really have that excitement to go back and look for all the things pointing to this, because they didn't know they were going to do it until last season. So it's not like there's going to be a bunch of hints of that there. So I don't know how a lot of it was planned out, but I'm going to at least go back and watch it one time to see if I can point out something or figure out some things. Like, remember we used to always talk about how they would build up that Dan and Dave loved Dany, right? That was the big thing. Like, she got so much love from them. And now we kind of know, like, oh, okay, they built her up because they wanted this to be a bittersweet ending, like her fall from grace. And that's why they built her up in that manner. So that's interesting. But it's not The Wire. I'll watch that.
Still say it's The Wire. I mean, it started out, yeah, absolutely. Like, back in season 4, I'd have to say that this is absolutely the greatest series ever created. And could I still say that now? Man, you're going to have to give me a little bit to talk about it. I would still say yes, just because of the fandom and the community and what it's brought together. The Sopranos was awesome to watch, one of my favorite series of all time, but, you know, never got on and discussed theories and what happened and what's really going on. And, I mean, having the books to back it up is really cool. And, you know, having the books, thank God, we get to keep going and probably maybe stick the ending a little bit better and have a whole lot more fun until they come out and actually tell us what the answers are.
People, don't get mad at DJ too much. He only thinks it's the best show because he hasn't seen The Wire yet or The Office. So, but people, you know, in general, when you have a really good show, it's always hard. The ending is really tough, I think. So most things don't really end when they should. This Game of Thrones is kind of the opposite. I think it didn't end when it should. It should have had like another season probably where they could flesh out some more things.
I think it should have had a few more seasons, and I think after season 4, D&D should have passed off the reins to people who still gave a shit. Get some good writers in there. Get some people who actually have a clue of what the story is, and people who have actually listened to the story that you've created so far, so they can keep up on it and not have have you say one thing 2 years ago and it be completely different. Now it's like that was one of my biggest things is like they kept going against their own stuff that they made. It's like these are your rules. You came up with this and you're going against your own shit. It's like, come on, man. I'm not mad when you stop seeing it as the end and the middle. You can't contract actors for 15 years. Yeah, absolutely. And again, we never D&D never thought that this was going to take up a decade of their life. They basically planned it out to the red wedding, thought they'd fizzle out and that'd be done. And I think HBO just kept throwing so much money at them that there was basically nothing that they could do. They had to say yes and just kept going. So that's what it was. That's what it was. But we're definitely going to keep it going. Like I said, I've read all the books multiple times. We're going to be doing some Dunk and Egg stuff, and I actually have another little thing getting going that going to try to get going and be a little more involved with the community and have you guys jump on and be a part of it. So stay tuned. Keep out for that. Have anything else you want to say about this episode, this series, and this finale before we jump off here, Andy?
It was a good time. I can't hate, no matter how it ended. Like DJ said, I can't hate the show because I met a lot of awesome people because of the show. So there's always that. And now I'm going to get these awesome people that I met to watch The Wire so they can see a truly amazing show. And it kind of gives me a little hope for Game of Thrones because a lot of people didn't like the last season of The Wire, but it aged so well, like a fine wine. It's amazing watching it now because it's so much more relevant. So
we'll definitely have to be getting into it. Yeah, there's definitely, I'm sure, going to be a few more things that we'll be on here talking about, a few more shows, and whatever the next one is, we'll be on that, and we'll keep it going. But till then, we'll definitely keep the shows going. Like I said, I have a little announcement while we're here, and probably bust that out next Tuesday. And like I said, something a little more interactive for everybody to be a part of and have some fun with that. So I definitely want to thank everybody that's been a part of it. It has been a wild ride this season, ups and downs, loved it or hated. It brought us all together and gave us something to do fun on Tuesday nights. I will always be appreciative of that. I want to thank all my panel members, the BBMs, the Pete Easies, JD, and most definitely Snafu, who's been here each and every time with me holding it down. We're going to keep it going. Like I said, next Tuesday, tune on back at 7 o'clock, and we'll keep you entertained. We're going to keep it going. So I hope everybody has an absolutely fantastic rest of the week. And until we see you next time, game on.